2026 Hyundai Elantra, only $299 a month.
That's all I've got for today.
Open it up to all our guests here. We've got some microphones. They'll come, put your hands up. They'll come and find you. We've got, yes, go for it. Thank you.
Watching the podcast. For supporting the podcast.
Good evening, Alice Benting from Entrepreneur First. Thank you for a fascinating conversation. I suppose a question for each of you. Prime Minister, the UK has some of the best universities in the world. We have the talent. What will it take for the UK to be a real breeding ground for unicorn companies? And Elon, being a founder in the UK is still a non-obvious career choice for most exceptional technical talent. What are the cultural elements that we need to put into place to change this? Thank you.
You want to go first? Go for it.
Sure. Well, you're right that there are cultural elements where the culture should celebrate creating new companies, and there should be a bias towards supporting small companies, because they're the ones that need nurturing. The larger companies really don't need nurturing. So just you can think of it sort of like a garden. If it's a little sprout, it needs nurturing. If it's a mighty oak, it doesn't need quite as much. So I think that is a mindset change that is important. But I should mention that London is, London and San Francisco, or the Bay Area, are really the two centers for AI. So London is actually doing very well on that front. The two leading locations on Earth. San Francisco's probably ahead of London, but London's really very strong. Well, London area, Greater London, home counties, I guess.
Keep going.
So I'm just saying objectively this is the case. But you do need that. You need the infrastructure. You need landlords who are willing to rent to new companies. You need law firms and accountants that are willing to support new companies, and it's generally it is a mindset change, and I think some of that is happening. But I think really it's just culturally people need to decide this is a good thing.
Yeah. No, actually, well, thanks for what you said about the UK. It's something that we work hard on. Lots of people in the room are part of what makes this a fabulous place for innovative companies, including Alice. So, Alice, what I'd say is, my job is to get all the nuts and bolts right, make sure that all of you are starting companies can raise the capital that you need, everything from your seed funding with our incredible EIS tax reliefs all the way through to your late stage rounds, and we need reform of our pension funds, and the Chancellor's got a bunch of incredible reforms to unlock capital from all the people who have it and deploy it into growth equity, right? That is a work in progress. We're not there yet. But
this is 30-year-old Amber Carter. Minutes from now, she will learn that her father is the latest victim of a serial killer.
Prioritizes and things that matter.
Someone in the house is deceased.
No. For the past 2 weeks, a gunman has terrorized Dallas, leaving 8 people dead or injured and an entire city on edge. But for Amber, the nightmare is only beginning, because the killer isn't a stranger, but someone she knows well.
Do you think that you have something to do with it? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And as investigators close in, it becomes clear that he may not be the only person in her world with a horrifying
and then actually
secret.
it's the thing that we spent the beginning of the session talking about, the regulation. Right?
It's 3 a.m. on October the 31st. 19-year-old college student Robert Jaden Urea is waiting for a rideshare in downtown Dallas after a party at a local club. But a great night out is about to become a tragedy. Out of nowhere, a car pulls up with its windows rolled down. The driver beckons to Robert, but as he approaches, the unimaginable happens. The teenager stumbles and falls into the middle of the intersection. By the time police and paramedics arrive, it's already too late. Robert has bled out from a fatal gunshot wound to his chest. Officers investigating the attack struggle to make sense of it. Robert has no enemies, no links to any criminal activity, and no reason for anyone to want him dead. What's more, his killer has left no evidence at the scene. CCTV footage captures a white Ford Taurus with tinted windows and a sunroof, but no license plate. It is the first real clue for detectives that this is no ordinary crime. For now, with no other explanation, officers put the shooting down to a thrill kill by an unknown assailant, and the investigation stalls, which is exactly what the killer is counting on. On November the 14th at 8:30 p.m., Dallas Fire and Rescue receives a frantic call. A man is lying in a pool of blood near a gas station in northwest Dallas. officers arrived to find 36-year-old Adam Gautreau dead on the street from 9 gunshot wounds across the length of his body. In a tragic twist, he died holding a sign asking strangers for help.
He had a sign. Yeah. Panhandle. Okay, he was at the window with the sign.
Life-saving.
He's talking. And then he put the sign down. And he's still talking to him. Then he put his hand in his pocket. Just rolled his shoulder.
Most companies
He went to walk out.
Most startups consist of,
Did you tell if it was the
a
driver or
mass
the
amount of
I couldn't tell if it was the driver.
It came from the driver's side.
It came from the driver's side. Yeah. And
so
the hit was all around.
And so the higher
That's where he was. His blood just
to be there
pouring out.
to make it a sense.
The account eerily matches the execution-style murder of Robert Gouveia 2 weeks earlier.
Actually, I can tell you. So, look, I we have, I think, relative to certainly European countries, certainly the US,
There's just one catch.
California,
The vehicles
much lower rate
don't
of capital
match,
gains
and
tax.
police find themselves
For those
once
people
again
who
with
are
few leads
risking
and even
growing
less
something,
evidence.
I think the
Just
reward
minutes
should be
from
there
now,
at
however,
the end,
another
20%
call will come to
capital
dispatch
gains
from a
rate.
location 9 miles
And
away,
on stock
and this
options, I don't know if
one
we've got
will
anyone
change
from
everything.
Index Ventures in the room. So, Index, one of
It's
our
9:02 p.m., 30 minutes after the first attack, when a caller reports a shooting at an intersection in the North Oak Cliff area of Dallas. Officers arrive to find 57-year-old Kenneth Hamilton in his vehicle, slowly bleeding out from multiple gunshot wounds. He is rushed to a nearby hospital, but is pronounced dead soon after arrival. Like Adam, Kenneth was shot with numerous rounds, each aimed at his vital organs, giving him little chance of survival. 2 random shootings of civilians a half an hour apart cannot be a coincidence, so detectives turn to the one resource left at their disposal, CCTV from the crime scene. Footage from the shooting near the gas station shows Adam walking to the place he normally panhandles most nights. Cars pass by and he approaches each one quietly asking for help, until a black Chevrolet Tahoe with tinted windows and distinctive black rims rolls up to the intersection and stops. Adam walks towards the vehicle and briefly talks with the driver. He begins to walk away when the driver calls him back and then opens fire. Before anyone has a chance to respond, the black SUV has disappeared into the night. Investigators pull up security footage from the location of the second shooting. Seconds before gunshots ring out, a vehicle pulls up alongside Kenneth's. It is a Chevrolet Tahoe with the same black rims. Dallas police now have proof that the killings were likely committed by the same perpetrator. In fact, all 3 murders share unsettling similarities. Each has targeted civilians with no links to any criminal activity or each other. Ballistics testing revealed the bullets all came from a 9mm Ruger pistol. Somebody in their city is deliberately and randomly killing innocent people purely for the thrill of it. And their fears are about to be confirmed after one of the most terrifying nights in Dallas criminal history. It's 10 p.m. on November the 17th, 2 days since the murders of Adam Gautreau and Kenneth Hamilton. Downtown Dallas has been on high alert, with multiple units deployed to search for the black Chevy Tahoe. But despite their best efforts, police are about to be outmaneuvered. The killer has shifted their hunting ground to the northern Dallas metropolitan area, where nobody expects them. 10 minutes after the first call, a second 911 call comes through to dispatch, this time from Prosper, a suburb 9 miles south of Frisco. A 41-year-old man has been gunned down from a car while waiting for the lights at an intersection. A third call is made at 10:30 p.m. from the town of Benton, 18 miles east of Frisco. 2 women had stopped their car at the lights and found themselves a target. But tonight, despite life-threatening injuries, all 5 victims survive. The next won't be so lucky. In the meantime, eyewitnesses share the same chilling story. A black Chevrolet Tahoe had pulled up, a tinted window was rolled down, and a gun had opened fire. With 8 attacks in the space of 2 weeks, a unique terror takes hold of Dallas. Investigators realize this threat is unlike anything they've encountered before. A killer selecting targets at random, using an ammo that allows him to move around undetected and rapidly leave the scene. And there's no way to predict when he'll strike next. Unfortunately, they won't have to wait long to find out. The very next day, the quiet neighborhood of Salina becomes the latest stop in the trail of nightmarish violence. It's 11:08 a.m. and the Salina Fire Department receives an urgent call from construction workers reporting a house fire. Strangely, they also ask for police. By the time firefighters arrive, the house is already engulfed in flames. As they work to contain the fire, officers stand by to secure the scene, and that's when construction workers step forward with something critical to report.
Yeah, exactly.
He's never ate popped out of his house.
Just being able
Killed
to
like
ask,
gunshot. Somebody took off running, ran down the fence line. Guy in the gray shirt got him on video. Okay. That's the reason I was calling, Bill. Yeah, no worries, no worries. We just want to let you know. I mean, this dude took off running. Okay. Like, he had just fucking done something. I don't know what he did in there, but here's parked right there in the white truck. It scared the shit out of him. We like jumped.
This, which gentleman?
I guess, essentially.
Yeah, video?
But before we get to that, while most of us never expect to be caught up in something as extreme as this case, the truth is, life can change without warning. There's a reason victims don't have to face this sort of thing alone. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They've got more than 1,000 lawyers and 100 offices nationwide, and hiring them is like hiring an army to go into battle. For over 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the rights of everyday people and have recovered over $30 billion for their clients. They're committed to getting the best results possible, and their fee is completely free unless they win. So, if you've been injured because of someone else's negligence, you deserve to be compensated. For more information, you can check out Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/beyondevil and see if you have a claim.
That's going to happen pretty quickly.
One of the workers hands the officer his phone with a recorded video already playing for him. It captures a man running from the burning residence, dressed in black, carrying a backpack. He appears to be fleeing the scene before emergency crews arrive. The video evidence is crucial, but the workers have even more alarming information to share.
Brandy, you there? Perfect.
You went in on that fence over there, and he killed like 10 times, shot 10 times, and he shot him.
So it feels like obviously with AI and everything everywhere all at once.
So he's shooting as he's running? Yeah, he was running that way.
With robots, to get the age of abundance, we'll need on the robots. I know you're working on robots as well.
This guy came to the shot about 10 times, then left, and the star started, ran this way, headed south.
We might get one country might get
shooting is what they say. So we probably got a crime scene.
Robots that can do all these things and the age of abundance, definitely a strategic disadvantage.
As firefighters continue to battle the blaze, one exits the residence and approaches an officer. He is about to deliver information that will confirm what investigators were already beginning to suspect.
Fire in this hallway right here, this main hallway? Yeah. That's independent of the bigger fire in the back. Gotcha. So, it's, you know, I mean, it's been set. Yeah. In my personal opinion, fireworks? Yeah. No. Going off? So as you burn down their house. So those windows right there busted out. Yeah. So that's probably what they heard popping. And then the top windows, I broke those out with my hand. So I broke them out. Did anybody get the license plate off the store?
With the fire extinguished, investigators are finally cleared to enter the residence, where they are about to make a horrifying discovery.
Just maybe like the one that looks like it has wheels. Looks sort of like a tank on wheels. I'm sure what that is.
In the middle of the living room lies the burned body of a man. The fire has not done enough to conceal the 4 gunshot wounds in the man's torso. Around him, 9mm shells litter the floor. For officers, a picture is forming. The sound of gunshots, a shattered window, a figure fleeing the scene. Someone broke into the victim's home with the intention of murdering the residents and destroying the evidence. But why and who? If home surveillance cameras are still operating, they hold the answers. And a black SUV is pulling up right now with a driver who can help them with this very thing.
Is he okay? He's not using his phone.
Okay, and he was inside the house?
I mean, that's his car in the driveway. I was assuming so.
I haven't checked. I haven't checked with the fire department.
I would assume that there would be an ambulance here if he wasn't okay, right?
Correct, but I just got here, so I don't know if they took some of the. Yeah, I do not know that. Okay. And it's just you, your kids.
I do think there is.
Okay. So your dad. Okay, so your dad's the only one supposed to be known.
Yeah, I saw this morning at breakfast. I took my kids to school.
This is Amber Adele Carter. She doesn't know it yet, but her dad, 60-year-old Blair Carter, is the man police have just found inside the burned house, with 4 bullet holes in his body. She is also unaware that, had she been home at the time, she could well have been the second victim.
Not that I know of. Like my baby daddy, we've stopped contact with him months ago.
Why?
Well, because of family violence and we were on and off for 6 years. It was just.
What's his first name?
Jeremy. But he doesn't even know where we live. He's not supposed to.
Jeremy.
Yeah. Harris.
What's his date of birth?
Sort of off switch.
And his best friend lives down in Central Texas, down in Waco area, and his house just got shot up a week ago.
Okay. Where does he live?
I don't know. The last I knew, he lived with his girlfriend in Reno.
Hey.
An off switch.
Okay. Well, I don't really think that right now, but I understand.
If you talk about these things all over the place.
Getting there.
You're not saying it. Just,
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm saying it's
listen to me, okay? How violent was he with you?
He was really violent. He got our kids taken away at one point. We were on and off, tried things. He just got out of jail maybe a little over a year ago, this last time for family violence.
Jail or prison?
Well, state prison, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's actually,
Ma'am.
it's funny you say that because we
Someone in the
asked
house
session that
is
we had
deceased.
today.
No.
They made exactly the same point right then. So we're talking about movies, about mentioning James Cameron, talking about James Cameron movies, and they're saying, but any of these movies, trains, subways, metros, cars, buses, they said all these movies with the same plot fundamentally all end with the person turning it off, right? Or finding a way to shut the thing down. And they were making the same point that you were about the importance of actual physical off switches.
Yeah.
And so all the technology is great, but fundamentally this same movie is played out 50 times. We've all watched it, and it all fundamentally, point I'm referring to, right? It all ends in pretty much the same way, with someone finding a way to just do the thing. Which is kind of interesting that you said a similar point, right? Yeah. It's probably not the obvious place you'd go to, but
maybe that could be one of the tests for the AI. We should say like, blank is your favorite James Cameron movie. Fill in the blank.
Yeah, excellent. Right. Yes. We got over there. Yep, perfect.
Hi, question for you both. So I'm a founder of a AI and ML scale-up in the Third Centre for AI, which is Leeds in the north of England, a bit biased. Since the launch of ChatGPT,
Her ex-husband and the father of her children, a man by the name of Jeremy Harris. A quick background check on 31-year-old Jeremy uncovers a shocking criminal history that includes multiple convictions for violent offenses, including an assault on a family member, burglary, and drug possession. And judging by Amber's reaction, Jeremy may have been even more dangerous than they think. In fact, with Jeremy on the run, the rest of her family could be a target.
Pause. We got her identified, right?
Even open source AI.
I don't know who it is, but someone in the house is deceased. Okay. Now the reason why I'm asking you all this, okay, is we're trying to figure out what's going on.
Stayed home. Maybe I shouldn't have. My kids are at school for sure.
What school they go to?
My 8th grader goes to. Oh fuck! Do you think he would have picked him up?
At this moment, the officer realizes that Amber's kids could be in grave danger.
10-4, can you make contact with those officers and tell the school those children are not supposed to be released to anyone? And if they are gone, to advise us, but they should not be released to anybody. Okay. What does Jeremy drive?
Last I knew, he drove like a big black Suburban. Like an older one, like a 4 or 5 something, I don't know.
To truly keep the family safe, however, police will need to apprehend Jeremy, and fast. And the more information they have on him, the better their chances. The vehicle Amber just described is an exact match to the SUV linked to the drive-by shootings that have been terrorizing Dallas. At this moment, however, Salina police have no idea the man they believe killed Amber's father could be at the center of a citywide manhunt. And that won't change, even in the face of this next chilling comment from Amber.
He doesn't even know where we live. The last time I talked to him was maybe Halloween, and he was like, pretty much, where do you live? Where do you live? And I was like, no. But the kids don't even know that I talked to him that day.
The onslaught of AI-powered bots.
That's the only person that I would think.
What you go hospital will be, I think, perhaps an insurmountable problem. So, and then they're worrying about manipulation.
Does he hang out at home, or?
We haven't seen him since September.
Okay, but you last spoke to him at Halloween?
Yeah, briefly. I mean, we were both pretty intoxicated, and it was just kind of like, the conversation didn't really have any substance.
Texting or phone?
No, phone, and then he was like, where do you live, where do you live, where are you? And I wouldn't tell him, and I hung up.
And that was Halloween?
It was Halloween. And then the next thing I know, last week, my friend from down there, where he's from, Central Texas, tells me that his best friend's house got shot up.
In Central Texas?
Yeah, in Rosebud. Where he's home.
Do they know who did it?
No, they don't. And I didn't want to think that he'd have, like, it didn't even cross my mind until his ex-wife, his other baby mama, told me that she was shooting him. I'm like, why would he shoot up his own best friend's house? Why would he have something to do with that? And here it is a week later and this.
Okay. On the night of Halloween, the same night Robert Gurvale would be gunned down on his way home from a party, Jeremy had begged Amber to give him her address. She refused, and in the days and nights that followed, she kept refusing, as the city was gripped by a terrifying murder spree. By now, however, detectives have achieved their objective, and they have a suspect in this homicide. Amber shares one final detail with the officers.
Your camera's not looking to that stuff?
No, I just get an alert when there's somebody near the doorbell.
But can you see what's on the camera?
No, it just sends me a text, and it says...
When was the last text received?
11:11. I got 2 texts saying that someone was at the doorbell.
Okay, and when you
That's when the... Okay. I'm just gonna hang on to this real quick, okay?
Yeah.
The house is equipped with a surveillance system, and now officers have full access. As one unit mobilizes to locate Jeremy, the others begin combing through the footage alongside the video pulled up from nearby homes. And what they uncover is terrifying. This footage was taken by a neighbor's security camera at 10:53 a.m. It's a typical Tuesday in this developing estate. Distant sounds of construction work can be heard when, out of nowhere, a man is captured walking by. He is dressed in black and carrying a backpack as he passes by. His backpack appears unusually full, as though it contains something substantial. He moves towards the target location without being noticed before disappearing out of view. When he next appears, it is in the backyard of Amber's father's house, the home of 60-year-old Blair Carter. Whatever the man is looking for, he hasn't found it and leaves, but he returns at 9:05 a.m. He approaches a window and peeks inside, as though he's looking to see if the residents are home, and this time, they are. This is Blair Carter, walking around the house before settling onto a stool at the kitchen counter. A few minutes later, he'll sit in front of a laptop to do his work, unaware that he is being watched. The man watching Blair has a plan to deal with him, one he's going to execute here and now. At 11:05 a.m., construction workers hear the sound of glass breaking. Immediately afterwards, gunshots ring. And at 11:08 a.m., a cloud of smoke rises from the residence, snapping the workers into action. They call the fire department before filming the suspect fleeing the scene. At 11:11 a.m., workers attempt to enter the home, but the fire has spread rapidly and they cannot get to Blair safely.
Especially when it comes to visual media. You alluded to the fact that it's fairly straightforward and effectively free to make people like yourselves say and do things that you never said or did. Can we do something like cryptographically?
Police now suspect that not only is Jeremy Harris responsible, but he had a bigger and far darker plan in mind. But to get to the bottom of that, they'll first need to locate him. And thanks to Amber, they know exactly where to look. At 2:20 p.m., officers wait outside his apartment in Salina as Jeremy steps out. Unaware he's surrounded, he walks past his Chevrolet Tahoe carrying a plastic bag filled with gasoline containers and throws it into a dumpster. Moments later, officers move in and detain him. Investigators have finally connected the dots. While Salina police were closing in on their suspect, a citywide bulletin about a homicide was picked up by detectives working the drive-by shootings. One detail immediately stood out, the description of the suspect's vehicle. By the time of his arrest, Amber's children have already been taken under police protection, Jeremy's phone subpoenaed, and a search warrant obtained. With him in custody, detectives begin combing through his apartment. They recover black sweatpants and a hoodie matching the suspect's seen in the surveillance footage, along with the black rims removed from the SUV parked in his driveway. Inside the vehicle, officers uncover more evidence: an empty 9mm ammunition box, 2 unfired rounds, and 3 pistols, a Taurus, and 2 Rugers. One of them has been taken apart and then burned. The evidence is stacking up, and it all points to Jeremy Harris as the man behind Blair Carter's murder and the string of drive-by shootings. But the case is about to take a turn no one saw coming. Minutes after Jeremy was taken into custody, a white Taurus with a sunroof pulls into the driveway. It's the same car linked to the murder of Robert Gouveia. The vehicle officers have been searching for weeks. Behind the wheel is Jeremy's girlfriend, Kelsey Wilson, and that's where things begin to become complicated. In the hours that followed, investigators discovered the firearms used in the attacks were purchased by Kelsey. It was also her car that was used in the first killing. With that in mind, Kelsey was brought in for questioning. Detectives now have a crucial task ahead of them, to establish whether Jeremy is behind all of the senseless murders and to find out how much Kelsey knew. Is she a victim, an unwilling accomplice, or something worse?
Okay, so I'm kind of here, not based on what happened to Jeremy. That happened to him so long. Okay. Do you know what that's about? Because that's not really what we're looking at. So I kind of want to talk to you, and you might, like I said, you might know things and not even know that there's significant, right? So we're also looking at some offenses that Jeremy might have committed. Okay? And what we're looking at is maybe some help from you. Like I said, part of our job as detectives is, when this goes down the road, people are going to want to focus attention on you. Did she have something to do with it? Was she involved? And so part of our job as detectives is to eliminate people.
Right from the start, Kelsey appears unusually calm. She shows no visible signs of stress and seems to be more than willing to expose Jeremy, which raises an unsettling question. Is she helping the police or helping herself? The detective begins by presenting his strongest piece of evidence, never expecting the response he was about to get.
The Chevy Tahoe.
Hey guys,
when you bought it, the tires that were on, were they the black ones that were on your apartment, or the brown? Those are different. 2 weeks ago. Why has he pulled them off the vehicle? Because they were on, because like when a guy gets new tires.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Mark Gill, and I'm the Conservative candidate in this great riding of Milton East, Halton Hills South, and I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning for this important announcement. And I have the honor of hosting Pierre Poilievre today for our Canada First announcement in my riding of Milton East, Halton South, the riding that I've had the honor of getting elected twice and representing provincially. As I'm going around, this is one of the most important elections in our lifetime, and I'm talking to individuals in my riding door to door each and every day. One thing that I'm hearing loud and clear is that after this lost Liberal decade, the cost in crime has gone up and the economy has gone down under the America's thumb. And it's clear that the Liberals do not deserve a 4th term. It is time to put Canada first and elect a Conservative government. The only individual that has the ability to take our country in the right direction and provide that strong leadership
and Matthews Brothers, we understand that better than anyone. For over 170 years, America has been our home as the oldest window manufacturer in the country. Our Sanford Hills windows bring together historic beauty and industry-leading performance of the future. Because we're not just the ones who have been doing this the longest, we're the ones who do it the best. Sanford Hills by Matthews Brothers. Find a dealer near you at MatthewsBrothers.com.
The interview has taken an unexpected turn. Not only are the rings linked to the crimes, but Kelsey has just admitted to purchasing them herself at Jeremy's request. Either Jeremy went to great lengths to cover his tracks, or Kelsey is more involved in these crimes than she's telling the officers.
Did he?
It's already rolled, trying to make it home. Doing the time I lost a pistol, who wants some? Fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to go God, fall back, I go hard. It's already rolled, trying to make it home. Doing the time I lost a pistol, who wants some? I see them on hard times to come. My life is ill, son. Prepared to kill, son. A paradox of pain, baby, is real, son. Lone the traveler, ain't trying to battle you, but if you're feeling tough, dog, I walk up all challenges. Ain't got no family. They see this one of me, might lose your post standing 2 feet in front of me. I'm pissed at the world, but I ain't looking for trouble. I might crack a grin. I ain't looking to hug you. Now think about it. Nobody wants to die. There's rules to this game, son. I'm justified. I'm ready to go, partner. Hey, I'm on the run. The devil's hugging on my boots. That's why I'm on the gun. This journey's too long. I'm looking for some answers. So much time stressing. I forget the questions. I fear no man. You don't want no problems. Being eyes in the back of my head. You better not follow me on this lonely road. Trying to make it home. Doing the time I'm on some pistol for one son. I'm fighting for my soul. God get at your boy. You try to go God for it back. I go hard on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing the bomb, I'm some pistol for one son. I see them on hard times to come. You probably think I'm crazy or got some loose screws, but that's alright though. I'ma do me, you do you. So how you judging me? I'm just trying to survive, and if the time comes, I ain't trying to die. I'm just trying to fly and get a little love. Find me a down piece and give a little hug. Hook the car up, hit the bar up, clean the scars up. Hey yo, the stars up. Hey, this is the life of an outlaw. We ain't promised tomorrow, I'm living now, dog. I'm walking through life, but yo, my feet hurt. All my blessings are fair. Man, I rest when I'm dead. Look into my eyes and see the real world. Take a walk with me, have a talk with me. Where we end up, God only the nose. Strap the boots on tight, you might be alright. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing the by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to go God, thought back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing the by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I see them long hard times to come. Trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to go God, fought back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I see them long hard times to come. On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to go God, fought back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing the by my lonesome, pissed off for one son. I see them long hard times to come. Check 1 2 1 2. I need everybody's attention. Welcome to the church against the grass. Let's go. That's right. Welcome to the church against the grass. American music, choose it. Hennessy and moonshine, baby, just lose it. Heavy beats, banjos, and scratches. The goat on the microphone, gold ashes. Straight flames, you can't match it. Reached for prime at birth, but never passed it. Red to toes, baby, it's classic. Spit bars, allow my fans in it. It's a seance, ghostly flow, keep the candles lit. Swoop down like an evangelist. Tone C, God MC. Cock you like a motherfucker, pardon me. I spit bars from the cerebellum with ease while you're put into the textures made from dead trees. I'm the Einstein of the rhyme lines. After your circle of theirs, you rewind mine. I get a cavalcade of accolades, make you have to reacclimate yourself with dry land after the way I saturate the world with liquid flows that will drown a whale. Any attempt to get with this is bound to fail. I speak brilliant words and astounding tales. Pummel rappers' heads like pounding hail. Stand on point, headed down the trail. Night up the round table that found the grail. Yes sir, I raps a lot, stacking up the data props. Yeah, the brother ran, got mastered in his catalog. Worse than the whole Russian army ain't got it all. Step your whole game back up, never just slack it off. Grip silver rap like my last name was Maximov. One fight up the rock is hard enough to crack your jaw. Throw back like Stacey Lattisaw, drop a classic John. Keep the good rappers up that are acting raw.
whole bunch of people who don't work. Or, oh my God, there's so much money, we can use it for something else. I think, wow, he's done some amazing things to earn that money. That is
He's talking to the ones who just say, wow.
They've done amazing things. Those are jealous. And
The ones who makes money.
take it off. Pretend he doesn't deserve it for some reason, even though he clearly does. Congratulations to you. And this $2 million payback is just the beginning. It's getting more and more. How are you not going to $2 million paydays when you're fucking Mars? So the future belongs to the creators. The future belongs to the makers. Money is unlimited. Work your ass off. Add value to the world. Money will flow. Sit there and cry your eyes out. The creditors are getting paid. But all the money should be taken off of them because they don't do any work at all. You are an idiot.
They're probably not listening anyway. When I was growing up, I was a dreamer, not a realist. They said keep dreaming, son, because you'll never be the illest. Now I'm between the realist and the dreamer. I drive a piece of shit, but I'm still dreaming of a beamer. I sat here long enough, like a one to pay the bills. Going to take over this world, and pull back on my children. This world's in recession, into depression. So meet me at the studio for a 3-hour session to release some aggression. The microphone, the killer. On my weapons, I'm the killer. If music or drugs, then I be the killer. If my mind for certain songs, I be the killer. A savvy long enough, it's time to flash out. Around with all this garbage, time to take the trash out. Then I be cool on my mind. And if anybody tries to bring you down, I will get up and make it get right. Some people say that.
The amount of value he is adding to the world shows you are one of life's biggest. You tell me you want to be a true builder. I don't see the thing. Oh my God, that can feel so much people don't work. Or oh my God, there's so much money. Something else. I think, wow, he's done some amazing things to earn that money. That is the difference between winner and loser. Winners see big paychecks and say, wow, they've done amazing things. Losers are jealous. And they're bitter and they're resentful. They want to take it off of them.
What kind of checks?
The power, the pressure, the pain of an icon. The only time my soul breathes easy gets when my mic's on. Spitting juice over beats equals the right song. Therapeutic, retributed through the veins in my arms. My infrastructure, pessimistic through history. Once conceived, 9 months of mystery. Proof for birth, 4 different certificates. Different dates for different bodies, same face. My eyes see through the breach, belief was a reach. My mom's bled for safety, married to a leech. My confidence was shut down. Standing on the road of love and got run down. Surrounded by mannequins posing threats. 3 times in 2 weeks I was close to death. Forever playing the game of life for just these rules. Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder, or they'll never hear your words. It's okay. Yeah, they're probably not listening anyway. Yeah. Speak a little louder. 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 Speak a little louder.
All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
All right, let me say in advance again, for the second time this week, how much I really despise doing this. This show was never intended to be a back and forth between lunatics. It was intended to go after the left and intended to be informative. I've said 1,000 times, Hat Tip Boogie Down Productions. The show was meant to be edutainment. You can look that up. Educational entertainment. It succeeded for 10 years because we never get into this back and forth. I've said to you 1,000 times, ask audience archivist Judy, how I don't like Republican on Republican political violence because the opponent is so much more dangerous. However, if you're going to go public on a show and accuse me and the president of basically a federal crime of obstruction of justice and claim you have the text and then somehow forget that I have them too, okie dokie. Want to play ball? Let's play ball. I didn't ask for this fight. I'm not even interested in it. But Depot Baby Tucker and his loser life zero of a brother. Unlike him, I'm not going to throw out unfounded allegations. I don't know. To get foreign money, I have no idea. I wouldn't say if I don't know it. And I don't know that. And I don't particularly, care to spend 1,000 hours doing like one of these 6-part investigations. However, it seems awfully odd that he just keeps throwing these allegations out there, claims to have this secret information, conversations he had. But he never actually shows any evidence of it. Sounds familiar, right? I got that. I've got a lot more on the show today. Senator Rick Scott coming up later. We've got a lot to talk about, including a video I saw on the interwebs that really made me laugh. I'm telling you, like I saw this and I'm thinking, is this thing real? It was real. A lot to talk about today. Hey, it feels like our country finally has momentum again, with so many of us fighting to restore common sense and America first. We've seen this before, though. Sometimes people get comfortable and the left starts taking back ground inch by inch, and then we look surprised at you. Don't let it happen. America needs every one of us in this fight, and a big part of this means supporting companies that actually stand for our values. That's why I'm proud to partner with Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile gives you premium, priority, nationwide service on any of the 3 major U.S. networks, so you get the coverage you need, plus unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and a 100% U.S.-based customer support team behind you. I use Patriot Mobile, so does Paula. We love it. Switching's easy. Took Paula under 5 minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, activate minutes. But Patriot Mobile is so much more than a great wireless service. They supported a growing movement of Americans defending faith, family, freedom, and the future of this amazing country. We love Patriot Mobile. It's a great service. They donate millions every year to organizations fighting for our freedoms. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan. Do it today for great mobile service from a great company, or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Dan for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan, or call 972-PATRIOT to make that switch today. Today's show also brought to you by another one of my favorite companies. You want some mouth-watering deliciousness? Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com. Today, I used to grab whatever protein looked decent at the grocery store. Many nights you cook it, add some seasoning, you're just hoping for the best. Stop hoping. Go with Omaha Steaks. It'll completely change the way you look at everyday meals. The first bite, you can absolutely 100% taste the difference. Juicy, tender, packed with real flavor. Now my meals feel upgraded without any additional extra effort. I've grilled their filet mignons and pan-seared their top sirloin fillets. They're incredibly tender, juicy deliciousness like you haven't tasted before. Even quick dinners feel elevated. What really sold me is the convenience of it. Everything arrives perfectly portioned, vacuum sealed, so there's no waste. It tastes fresh, tastes great, something to get ready quick. With flexible ordering and fast delivery, it's easy to say stock and skip last-minute store runs. Justin's a huge Omaha Steaks fan as well. Never settle for grocery proteins again. This year, get that. The tender, flavorful proteins he deserves for Father's Day coming up on June 21st. Shop the specials. Order the perfect gift in time for Father's Day at omahasteaks.com. Get $35 off when you use promo code Bongino at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. Code Bongino. Terms apply. See omahasteaks.com for details. emails. Thanks a lot. So that's all. Again, I hate doing this. Let me also get on the record here. And Tucker, I know you're watching so well because you can't stay away because you realize you're about to be just totally destroyed and humiliated yet again. However, I, as a matter of practice, do not publish people's personal texts, even if they make me look great and someone looks stupid, or I will not do that. However, if you're going to reference something like personal texts and claim you have them proving that a federal crime was committed, the obstruction of justice in one of the most important critical cases of our time, the investigation in Butler, I have an obligation to put those out there. I don't do this. I hate doing it. I've never published any of my texts in 1,000 other scenarios where it would have been advantageous to us. But if you're going to claim this, and you say that on Mario Naval's program, whatever thing he's got going on X, then now we're going to produce receipts. Okay, so let's get to it. First, I want to tell you, I did not publish this book. It's been around forever. However, I strongly encourage you to read this book. I have nothing to do with it. I have no financial interest in it at all. But there's a book by M. Scott Peck, he has since passed. It's called People of the Lie. It is a amazing book about what real human evil looks like. And it's not just about the stuff like evil, like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger stuff. You know, we get that, like serial killers, even. We understand it's fairly obvious. This is a different book. M. Scott Peck was a psychotherapist who was astounded and fascinated, frankly, by sociopaths who were not serial killers. They may not have been, they never committed a crime. But their entire lives were about hiding their own failures by lying about their failures and blaming other people. It's a really fascinating account how evil people, attack others in order to cover up their own failures in their life. The reason I'm telling you to read this book, it's amazing. I've read it a couple times, I've mentioned it on the show, is when you read this book about how people who cannot stop lying, and you wonder why they do it, like Tucker and others in the space who I've mentioned before. Read the book and you'll see why they do it. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's about the person doing the person in the chair making it up. They're hiding themselves. It's a shame because I was friends with this guy for a long time. I didn't start this fight, but I'm going to finish it. So let's get to it. First, you're going to see this same pattern with people like Tucker Carlson in Podcastistan. And it's a shame, again, we have to cover this. But I want you to pay attention. And please, if you've ever taken notes on the show, whether mental or you write them down, I mean it, take these notes now. Because you're going to see the same pattern replicate itself over and over in Chaos Agents. Every single time. Number one, claim to people you have secret information or a data point, but never actually tell people what the secret information is. I heard on a phone call, someone told me, I'll release tomorrow, coming up soon, what's going on in this case. This guy didn't do it. Joey Bag of Donuts didn't shoot John Smith. I know who did. Who is it? I don't know, we'll get to it tomorrow. I talked to the president. He said, really? That's interesting. I did too. I can actually provide receipts. That's fascinating. You're accusing us of a cover-up with a Butler? He was shot in the head. He's covering up his own... Claim to have secret information. That's step one. A data point. But never actually tell people what it is. You never produce an email showing this cover-up. Nothing. Matter of fact, when evidence surfaces that there was in fact no cover-up and an effort to get people information, you just ignore it and move on to the next thing. Step two. Present a bunch of information to people without evidence. I've used this example over and over again, but we'll bring Justin into the mix. Justin, lives in South Florida with me. If there is a bank robbed in South Florida and Justin has an account at that bank, present evidence in the show showing a screenshot of Justin's account at the bank. And go, I don't know, man, suspicious, right? Meanwhile, when the bank was robbed, if it was even robbed at all, because sometimes like Tucker today's just making this whole thing up, but if there was a bank even robbed, Tucker was in Alaska when it happened. Justin. And yet Tucker will say, hey, Justin had a bank account at the bank, but never, it's information. Yes, that's correct. But it's not evidence. All information isn't evidence. Matter of fact, the mark of a moron and an imbecile, and people in Podcastistan who do this, is they overload you with information and they never, like a sieve, make it actual evidence. The mark of a good investigator is eliminating suspects that have useless information and getting down to information that actually matters and proves a case. Morons do the opposite, like Tucker. Is he doing it on purpose because he's a person of the lie? Or is he doing it because he's just an idiot? The answer is, I don't know. I thought he was an intellectual guy, but now I'm really starting to wonder if he's actually just a moron. The third marker you can see, in addition to I have secret information, here's a bunch of information without actual evidence of anything. The third one you see is that tune in tomorrow. I've got a special series going on this ongoing investigation I'm conducting with secret information.
And then he explains, what are those sources?
This happens all the time. Isn't the grift fairly obvious? So I want to show you what I'm talking about. I woke up to this morning and a bunch of people texting me that, by the way, nobody actually believes this guy anymore because he's lied so often. Tucker, here he was on Mario Naval's show, making an allegation, claiming to have evidence in text, which I'll now show you, my text, because I happen to, I think he forgot that. And I'm going to show you how the secret information he claims to have, I'm going to make public. So now it's not secret. So I have the receipts. He has not yet displayed these. I will. Because I'll show you how what he's telling you in this clip, that there's some investigation into Butler that's been shut down. I'm going to bring the receipts to show you all this is fake. If you choose to listen to this Nepo baby imbecile after this,
he knows how to appeal to us. He knows how to cater to our shortcomings. He knows. When he wants to distract you from Salah, he doesn't tell you don't pray. He knows you're a good person. He tells you there's so much time. Enjoy your time now. And then as time is running out, you don't pay attention, all of a sudden your Salah is qada. When you're about to give a sadaqah to the poor, he whispers in your ears, don't rush. There are people in Lebanon and Iraq and Afghanistan who deserve this money. Why are you paying here? You don't pay. Then you forget to send your money to Lebanon and Iraq and Afghanistan. He manipulates, he deceives, he tempts. So the shaitan says, those are the weak spots I find in people to strike. إِذَا أَعْجَبَتْهُ نَفْسُهُ, when he engaged in self-admiration. That's a dangerous situation, my dear brothers and sisters. When I start admiring myself, believing I'm a perfect person. All I've been doing is great. أعجبته نفسه. That's a very, very dangerous situation. When I believe I'm a perfect person, I don't need no reconciliation. I need no reform. I'm a perfect person. You always need to doubt yourself. This is a nafs al-ammara and shaitan both playing with your mind. You're a great person. You have done a great job. I have done great things. We have a guy at the White House. He always brags about his achievement, his false achievement. This is how the shaitan penetrates. إِذَا أَعْجَبَتْهُ نَفْسُهُ, self-admiration. What else? وَاسْتَكْثَرَ عَمَلَهُ, he does a good deed, but he exaggerates. He exaggerates about it. He thinks he has done a lot, when in fact he did a little. He exaggerates. He gave $10 to the poor. Oh, I gave $10 today. That's a huge amount. In Afghanistan, you can feed 20 people with $10. وَاسْتَكْثَرَ عَمَلَهُ, he thinks he has done a great. When I think I have done enough, this will discourage me from doing further. I would say, why bother? Alhamdulillah, my track record is good. I gave to this jama and that jama, so don't bother me with any new
charitable project. استكثر عمله. The third one, the third moment in which the shaitan strikes and manipulates.
That's so funny.
وصغر في عينه ذنبه. When I belittle my own sins. It's okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. The other day, a sister called me. She was talking to me over the phone about the possibility of her removing her hijab. She asked me the following question. She said, Sayyid, يعني Allah will punish me for removing hijab as much as He would punish me for not praying? I said, yes. Yes. Why? Because any sin you belittle, this is a great sin. أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام شر الذنوب أو أعظم الذنوب ما استهان به صاحبه. The biggest sin is not what you think is a small sin or what is big sin. What the biggest sin in the eyes of Allah, the one that you belittle, you take slightly. It's okay if I look at gays, at women. That's fine. Allah Ghafurur Rahim. Yeah, Allah Ghafurur Rahim, but Allah doesn't work for you. He's not your employee where you can dictate on him, come and forgive me. Allah forgives you if He wants to forgive you, not what you want Him to forgive you. It doesn't work for me. So, we need to be very careful not to belittle our sin. Never belittle. Don't say, you know what, as long as I don't drink, as long as I pray the 5 days of daily prayers, Allah Kareem, if I do something. If I go and attend a party, a wedding where mixed men and women are dancing and singing, it's okay, it's my cousin's wedding. We need to be very careful and beware of this kind of sin that you are belittling, you're taking so slightly. If a sin is practiced commonly in the community, that doesn't make it a small sin. That doesn't make it a small sin, my dear brothers and sisters. If 10,000 people in my community practice that sin and take it lightly in the name of traditions, that doesn't make it a slight. That doesn't make it a small. A sin is still a sin. And I need to ask myself before doing anything in my life, whether something related to myself or to the community or to my friends or to my family, I need to ask myself, is Allah okay with what I'm doing or no? If the answer is yes, go ahead, do it. But if the answer is no, Allah is not happy with what you do. Allah is not happy. A singer comes from the Middle East. I'm not going to mention names because I honor this member from mentioning some petty names. She came a month ago, I was told, and someone told me the ticket was $200. $200 you spend for 1 hour to listen to a singer promoting moral decadence? You can save the life of a full family now in Lebanon with 200. Wallahi haram, that's the biggest sin you commit. That's the biggest sin. But the place, I was told, was packed. Over 1,000 people, many of which from our own community. Then Ashura comes, they go to the Ashura, they cry, yeah, Imam Hussein, we follow you. Imam Hussein does not accept those kind of followers, my dear brothers and sisters. If I follow Imam Hussein, I have to follow him seriously, not by name only. I cannot go and dance before Ashura, and then when Ashura comes, I go and weep for Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein doesn't need my tears. He doesn't need my tears. The reason I cry for Imam Hussein, to cleanse my own self, to be closer to Allah, and closer to the path of Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein otherwise doesn't need our tears. وَصَغُرَ عِنْدَهُ فِي عَيْنِهِ ذَنْبُهُ Finally, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam tells us about a powerful tool, a powerful weapon in the hand of the shaitan. He says alayhi salam, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَالدِّرْهَمْ سَهْمُ الشَّيْطَانِ. To love money, to worship money, to love having more money, that is his best weapon, my dear brothers and sisters. Trust me. No one says hate money. No one says. Don't get me wrong. No, don't get me wrong. You can love money, but for what? If you want money to do something good with it, to take care of your family, to take care of the poor and the underprivileged, that's a good thing. But to want money to fulfill my own haram desires, to go to the casino and gamble, and to go and throw money where I'm not supposed to throw, to do haram things with it, to buy marijuana with it, it's haram. It's haram. So Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam refers to this as one of his most powerful weapons. حُبِّ الدِّينَارِ وَالدِّرْهَمِ. It makes people go blind, unfortunately. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the power to overwhelm the shaitan in his temptation. My dear brothers and sisters, before I conclude, I want to remind you that we're going to have Ashura program starting this week, this coming week. The Arabic program will begin on Monday, June 15th at 10 p.m. sharp, inshallah. I will be speaking. My dear brother Hajj Ahmed Hamdan will be reciting Majlis, inshallah. مجلسنا العاشورائي باللغة العربية سيبدأ يوم الاثنين مساء بإذن الله في تمام الساعة 10 مساء بعد صلاة المغرب والعشاء مباشرة. يعني نصلي المغرب والعشاء جماعة وننتقل إلى البرنامج الساعة 10 بالضبط. نبدأ إن شاء الله نكون 11 شوي خالصين. أدعوكم جميعا للحضور والمشاركة. أنا سأكون في خدمتكم والأخ الحاج أحمد حمدان سيكون قارئ العزاء معنا بإذن الله. The English program starts on Tuesday at 7 p.m. inshallah. Sayyid Ahmed Al-Qazwini will be speaking. We will have women program at 2 p.m. inshallah. And we will have children program at 4 p.m. I repeat, the Arabic program begins on Monday, not Tuesday, Monday at 10 p.m. The English program begins on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Children program at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and women program on Tuesday at 2 p.m. inshallah. I encourage you all to attend and to participate. And finally, starting from tomorrow, Saturday, and every Saturday, inshallah, every Saturday, in Ashura and after Ashura, my dear brother Hajj Abu Haydar Sa'di, whom you know, a decent, pious brother, along with brother Hamza, Sayyid Hamza Al-Hassani. Where is he? Over there. They will be starting Quran class for those who would like to learn the recitation of Quran. Free class. No fees are charged. I invite those who would like to benefit every Saturday right after ظهر and عصر. سيكون هناك مجلس تلاوة القرآن. اللي حابب يتعلم تلاوة القرآن وهم كثر أعزائي. احنا احيانا عندنا محاضرة بدنا نبدأها بقرآن، نفتش على واحد نقول له تقرأ قرآن يقول ما بعرف أقرأ قرآن. طيب شو تعرف إذا القرآن مبدأ؟ إذا المسلم ما يعرف قرآن يقرأ، هاي مصيبة هذه يا أعزائي، والله هذه مصيبة. فلازم نتعلم قراءة القرآن على الأقل، ما عم نحكي عن حفظ القرآن، قراءة القرآن، القراءة الصحيحة للقرآن. كل سبت ساعة 2 الظهر، يعني بعد صلاة الظهر والعصر. اللهم
we need somebody. And I agree with you. Somebody
opinions
to
on
be
what's healthy.
you know, maybe Nick.
Right.
I mean, Nick's down there, but Warren and Juanita and Marival, and I always butcher her name. They were out there too. You know, we need somebody there.
Well, I just wanted to pop in and say that because I think that's what it all needs right now. Someone to direct them. Because they seem lost. They really do.
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye. All right, Outer Banks, I know you got a lot to say.
I don't have a lot to say. How are you, JLR?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? Good?
I'm doing good. I was gonna just dovetail off the back of what you just said.
Welcome back. We got another
There needs to be
Friday
one
with
person that is in charge of all of the fundraising accounts. People don't be sending money to accounts that you do not know that are real. There are people making up fake accounts. Just make sure whoever you are donating your money to, that's I think one person, like his daughter, everybody was sending money to his daughter's Cash App. So my suggestion is that, like she said, one person needs to be in charge of the fundraising money and one person only.
Who could that be?
Well, his daughter. I think it should be his daughter.
Alright, so in Mass, you guys have a lot of
because his daughter was taking the Cash Apps last night.
But how old is his daughter? Is she under 18?
No, I think it's his college daughter that just graduated from nursing school.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we support if someone wants to be the designated person. I will say I don't want to be that person at all. But again, we use our platform. We can get him the help easily.
Of course, we can't do it easily. And anybody, let's just say one person has to choose a night, say you, and that night you're going to talk about what happened, and we will use that night as a fundraiser night for an attorney, and then maybe the next week have one more, maybe have one or two donation nights, but for sure one person has to be in charge and only one person of taking those donations. Whether it's got to be somebody in town, whether it's Juanita or his daughter or
I think it's real.
857 or whoever, but we need to get somebody in charge of that.
No, he's honest.
Gary Ann says 526 was P10 day, so maybe Alex got a citation that we don't know about on the P10.
He never got a citation. The only sheriff that drove by Alex when that police station was up on the island is a lady sheriff that asked him if he wanted water and she was driving by. She never stopped and cited him for that. He has never been, I have never, and I watch you guys all the time. Not once has he been cited that I have seen. Ever.
Stretch across counties, and that
teen biker then
has no intention of stopping.
Manos lied about how going at Alex because they specifically went to his house. He never got a citation prior. He's talking about giving people citations first, then arrest.
What about the warnings first, then the citations, then the arrest? Alex got the bad end of the deal because he did not get cited any time before they went to his house to be arrested. Unless it was off camera and he was getting into Juanita's car to go home or something. But anytime he was online, and he would post it online, he would keep it on there. He did not get a citation from any sheriff of Pima County.
If you haven't been following Sergeant Steve, you got to get on the channel. He does some
how is that legal that they can backdate a citation?
Stop the video or after this video, make sure you go follow.
And who cares if there's a P10? He was trying to cover himself
I'm just watching three
from two different illegal actions.
Well, it's kind of in response to the Jews having problems using a porta potty. So, you don't want to sit there on the side of the road and be seen urinating on the side of the road because that can cause a lot of problems. Reputational.
I think they want him to piss on the side of the road so they can have something to arrest him for.
Not gonna forget that.
Yeah.
They're just looking for anything. to arrest him, and I'm about ready to drive to Sue Ellen's house and punch her right in the fucking face.
No.
Of course I wouldn't. I want to so bad.
No, we don't support violence. No, please don't do that.
I would be in jail too.
No, don't say that.
I mean, I won't do it, but I just am so angry with what's going on and what other streamers are doing to entice hate on these YouTube streamers out here, including you. But I just want, that's what I was calling in for. I just want...
I'm very grateful I got warning. You know, and I shared that with everybody. I shared it with Alex, I shared it with Tucson, I shared it with warning not to go in that neighborhood. And I shared this warning out. I put the, you know, it was like a week ago. It was after the juice did it. Oh, if I go in that neighborhood, I'm gonna get arrested.
I wouldn't go back, but I understand Alex's concept. I understand where he's coming from, and he's being hard-headed, but they are violating civil rights. They are violating his rights, and he's trying to make a point about civil rights, his right to freedom of speech, his right to freedom of the press, and they think it's okay to violate that. And why didn't Sheriff Nanos get a violation or a ticket or jail time for a loaded gun in his suitcase? Why is he getting off of that? You know?
Carol said, was Alex or were you guys in Vegas on the 26th? No, I was just looking, Carol, it's the 30th.
Makes for a great video, too. This makes for a great
so,
video.
I don't know where Alex was on the 26th, 526. Kelsey, I'm going to bring you, stay on Outer Banks. I want to just bring in Kelsey because I think she wants to add something. She was just in here. Kelsey, did you want to add something? Kelsey?
So fast. So dangerous.
Can you hear Kelsey?
I think she wanted to add something about the 26th citation. I'm not sure. If Kelsey, are you there? Okay, she might not be here. Maybe
she'll come back in.
She didn't run. That's the best thing that could happen.
Driver's license registration.
Yeah, the worst.
Sarah Winston, you're trying to come in too. You're gonna have to put your your device disconnected. Okay.
And it's.
So we're watching Nick RPG. He's apparently outside the jail here, waiting to see if Alex gets released.
Senator Susan Collins delivers from Maine, bringing $190 million for rural hospitals and health centers. And Senator Collins co-sponsored the Halt Fentanyl Act, cracking.
That's the other thing too. Nobody in the cars thinks that these people are cool.
I just looked, and the 26th
because the rest of us think a bunch of goofballs.
Is the day that the police showed up, and the police at Nancy's, and the bald guy was there. That's when all that happened. But Alex did not receive a citation. I just watched the whole thing. The cops left and didn't give him anything.
The courage it takes to be on the back of a bike where your life is severely in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're saying he got a citation. There's nothing. It's right here on our stream. It's the day that the bald guy was there and showed up. There's nothing. They left and left Alex just fine. And they have thousands of witnesses that watched that. Alex never received a citation. Ever.
Alright, good to know, ladies. I'm gonna let you both go.
Have a nice day. I'll be back here, JLR, if you need anything.
Alright, thank you, Outer Banks and Kelsey. Thank you, Outer Banks. Alright, I've got some other people. We're bringing Susan Riley. Hi, Susan. How are you? Are you there, Susan? You're up. We are outside the jail here. Alex getting released, apparently. Nick RPG is at the scene. Are you there, Susan?
What are you gonna do when she dies?
Look, he was being dumb.
Alright, come back out, come back in.
You're as dumb as the other guys.
My team.
Dies because you go too far and she falls off the back. That's like a $1,200 ticket.
Stings. Better in jail.
All I got on him is flying a wheelie, but the will run guy, I came too close to grab him, so he's doing a wheelie with her on the back.
you? How old are you?
But for Ashton, simply escaping the police isn't enough. He wants to show them how hard it will be to catch him, and he turns back to put on a show.
Unreal. Oh, what a punk. What a freaking punk.
Balls in this kid. Wow.
He is cocky.
I just pulled in the wall real quick. You passed. I see you passing. That's all you. I'm catching up. I'm catching up. That's all you.
I don't know who he's talking to. Must be one of the other bikes.
Yeah. The phones like connect to the helmets now and stuff.
Yeah.
There. Oh man.
What a punk.
These two are like, please stop.
You're not making it any better. They're like, dude, we're already in trouble, stop.
Yeah. He's here to liberate you.
Come on.
What a punk, man. Is he in the wrong way? He's just doing circles in the opposite lane.
Whatever he wants.
They're back eastbound doing wheelies down ISB.
A little wheelie.
Where's all the other deputies?
Yeah.
As the off-duty lieutenant
kind of strange
off after Ashton and his companion, the sergeant decides to stay back to gather as much information as he can from the third rider, hoping to learn.
A little back rub on a traffic stop.
It's gonna be okay.
Israelis ask, they have been asking the United States for this war. Benjamin Netanyahu wanted this war for such a long time, but finally he got it with the Trump administration. This is what John Kerry said. He said he came, Benjamin Netanyahu, each and every time he came to the United States, he was asking, let's go, let's attack Iran. Obama administration, Bush administration, then Biden administration, he asked each and every president in the United States. But finally he got it through the Trump administration because of the structure of the Trump administration facilitated that, in my opinion. Because many people are so close to the Israelis, particularly Benjamin Netanyahu himself, that was a huge factor to decide to go along with that war. But what else can the United States do for Israel? I think this is the peak of what the United States could have done for Israel.
We don't even really
this could be, so to speak, the straw that broke the camel's back. This could be the event that fundamentally changes America's attitude towards Israel. It could also be the event that ends American hegemony. That again, it's just an American defeat in the Persian Gulf, which I think is pretty close to inevitable as far as I can tell, would be such a blow to American hegemony that it'd be very difficult for the U.S. to recover from it. And domestically, yes, it'd be very difficult to explain to the public how Israel got us into this war that we lost at enormous cost to the economy. And so I think all of those things could produce basic changes in U.S. politics and international politics. Well, the short term is likely to be very bad in that we almost certainly will get an economic downturn of some kind. The question is, how bad will the downturn be? Especially since we're seeing the possibility of an El Nino in the South Pacific and possible effects on things like harvests. And so the short term will be very bad. In the longer term, I would be somewhat optimistic about the prospects of Israel being restrained and the United States being restrained. I think the American public is ready for a change in their foreign policy. The public, I think, is getting tired of permanent war. And again, this is true in both parties.
You're gonna be on him now.
Both parties are somehow supporting the Israeli agenda. But David, when it comes to the Israeli agenda, look at the Middle East today. Israel is basically, I would say, they're saying that Israel is occupying the southern part of Lebanon, but this occupation is some sort of trap when you look at what's going on recently with the case of Lebanon and Hezbollah, how Hezbollah is fighting back. You know, we may ask the basic question, why does Israel need to attack somewhere like Dahi, which is totally a huge area, populated area, 500, 600,000 people in that area. He says he announced some sort of evacuation, and you have to get out of your homes. We're going to demolish, we're going to destroy everything. Why do they need to do that? Because the way that Hezbollah is attacking them, they said that Israeli ambassador in the UN said that the use of FPV drones, the use of rockets, the ambushes that is happening in the southern part of Lebanon, they don't have a solution for that. Particularly with the case of FPV drones, because they're hitting Merkava tanks, they're hitting air defense system batteries, they're hitting Israeli soldiers. And it's too difficult for the air defense system to detect these FPV drones. So if you cannot fight on the battle, you cannot fight on the ground, you have to do something else. That's why you need to attack Beirut. And here comes the Iranian role. Come say, you attack there, we're going to attack, we're going to level the northern part of Israel. You have to evacuate. This is a totally desperate situation considering what it was for Israel before this war started.
I'm going to have to say, I think Israel is pursuing what, to me, it seems like an irrational policy. There's no way Israel's better off from starting a war with Iran. You think they would have learned their lesson in June, and you think some of this was predictable. Well, not entirely. Iran is much better prepared for war, I think, than anybody expected. They've been extraordinarily well prepared, I have to say. It's that, by the way, is also a source of strength for them, because there's the classic image of David versus Goliath, and very clearly Iran is David here. And there's a natural human tendency to sympathize with David. And when David strikes a blow, even people who don't like the Iranian regime, as I do not, have to basically see that there's one has to be very impressed by the fact that they've been able to resist Israel and the United States to the extent that they have. And that's also true of Hezbollah, which is Iran's forward line of defense in Lebanon, which is why Israel is going after Hezbollah. I don't really know why they're bombing Beirut. I'm not quite sure what they had in mind there. I suspect there's a story behind this that we haven't heard yet.
That was interesting.
Southern Lebanon is fairly obvious. They want to destroy Hezbollah. I should add that the image of Greater Israel has also included Lebanon south of the Litani River. Among ultra-nationalists in Israel, which seem to have a lot of influence on their current policy these days, Southern Lebanon has always been on their agenda, on their radar screens. And so that's somewhat easy to explain. And of course, getting rid of Hezbollah is easy to explain in terms of getting rid of a potential ally for Iran. The problem they're facing is, as with Iran, Hezbollah is more formidable than the Israelis would have imagined. They really should have been forewarned, because they went to war with Hezbollah in 2006. And Israel had to withdraw in what was essentially a military defeat. Hezbollah is better armed and better organized than the Israelis realized in 2006. And I think 20 years ago they would have learned their lesson, but evidently they haven't. And it's amazing the extraordinary appetite for risk Netanyahu has, and his willingness to take what would seem like very reckless risks. Risks that obviously are going very badly for Israel. I don't really see Israel's exit here. As you noted, Israeli soldiers are being killed in Lebanon in larger numbers than they might have expected. And Iran and Hezbollah have both made very effective use of missiles and drones. And Israel does not have a good solution to this, as far as I can tell. And they're going to come out of this greatly. Israel will come out of this weakened, for sure, both diplomatically and also militarily. There is some tendency in Israel to be overconfident. I just think back to the 1973 war, when Israel was caught by surprise and almost defeated. And there was an Israeli general who tried to explain why Israel was prepared. He said, well, we figure we were just fighting against Arabs, not Germans. Okay. Against Germans, they'd be worried. But against Arabs, not so much so. Well, there's a tendency for Israel to overestimate its capabilities and underestimate those of its adversaries. We're seeing that playing out right now in Lebanon.
that was, I think, considering what has happened in Syria, you remember the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, that was, they said, is a huge victory for Israel, and it's gonna be game changer. But as time goes by, the enemy was Iran those days. Right now, the enemy of Israel is not just Iran, it's Turkey. They want to pick a fight with Turkey. That's gonna be, in my opinion, when you say Israelis right now, they're talking about at this step we're fighting Iran. The next step gonna be Turkey together with Pakistan. The war is expanding. These people are expanding the war. They're not shrinking.
While units desperately hit the gas to catch up,
the shrinkage is not happening in their attitude. They don't care. But that's why I think this Section 224 going to be a huge and disastrous policy for the United States, because these people are going to expand over and over, this war.
They get away so many times. Most agents
the legislation you're talking about is worrying. Right? It's very worrying. I think that what you're... I'm very surprised at the extent to which Israel seems to have the need to be in a state of permanent war. It's not good for their economy. I mean, one thing you're getting in Israel is a brain drain. Israel has become very proud of the fact that it has a very large technology sector. It's the startup nation. They're very proud of that fact. They've been successful in that area. They have a high standard of living, supported by the United States partly, but also partly on their own initiative. They have a lot of talent in Israel. That talent is leaving. Okay? One of the most widespread activities in Israel is acquiring a second passport. Jews who are of German or Polish descent, even distant German or Polish descent, can usually get a passport from those countries, which gives them EU working rights. Other Israelis manage to get passports from Canada or the United States, and large numbers of Israelis are doing this, and many of them are taking out their passports and simply leaving, and leaving for good. And who leaves? It is the most talented people. This can't be good for Israel's future trajectory. Right? And so I don't see how the war is helping Israel. There's also an Israeli general that said the Israeli Defense Forces is at the breaking point. They've had too many deployments. There have been too many call-ups of reservists, and the soldiers are getting exhausted. You think Netanyahu would listen to those facts and not be constantly hungry for new wars? But there does seem to be kind of a political dynamic in Israel that always needs a new war. In some ways, you might say they suffer from the same malady of the United States, which also seems hungry for war. Really, the two most aggressive countries in the world are Israel and the United States. It's not an ally. It's not an accident they're allies.
The problem for Israel and Netanyahu today is that the objective of the United States and Israel were somehow, the objectives were somehow overlapping before the Iranian attack, before the attack on Iran. Right now, totally they're different, because for Donald Trump to stay as one of the U.S. officials told Axios, Trump's survival gonna be get out politically. If he wants to stay to survive or to stay alive in the political arena of the United States, he has to get out of this war. And for Israel, for Benjamin Netanyahu, is the opposite. He has to continue this war. Without this war, he's going to be removed from power. And we know how these people who are against him, by the way, they don't have different sort of mindset when it comes to Gaza or Lebanon, but they want to remove Benjamin Netanyahu from power. That's why you see these sort of the two leaders, they have different objectives at this particular moment. Donald Trump wants to get out, Netanyahu wants to stay in the fight.
Netanyahu clearly doesn't want to stay into the fight, and there's been speculation, I think, that if he loses this war, he'll be removed as prime minister and then be put in trial. He doesn't want that, so he has a personal interest in it. I think it maybe overestimates his influence here in the sense that he has a government behind him. People are more extreme. And Gvir and Smotrich, the finance minister and the national security minister, seem to be even more aggressive than Netanyahu. So it's not just Netanyahu here. I think we do have there's an element of irrationality in Israeli policy that I don't fully understand. It must be said. As far as Trump goes, clearly, he was playing with fire in getting involved in this war. And he got himself into a war he cannot get out of. because he was expecting quite clearly a quick capitulation. From what we know of the decision to go to war, Israeli intelligence, he met not only with Netanyahu but the head of Mossad, and evidently the personality of Netanyahu is somebody who impresses Trump. His tough guy image, Netanyahu, I guess, is the ultimate tough guy. And Trump likes that. And he had the head of Mossad, and I guess Mossad has this mystique. I'm not sure if it's deserved, but this mystique is they are the world's top intelligence service, at least according to mythology. And they said, we have this plan to decapitate the leadership, and if we decapitate the leadership, the whole regime will fall like a house of cards. Just like Venezuela. You'll have a glorious victory to your name at very little cost. Now the American advisors to him, General Kane, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, advised against the war, but evidently he went with it the Israelis recommended. Because they have such a flawless record, as everybody knows, again, according to mythology at least. And I have to say also, Trump's inexperience is a factor here. He has no real experience in foreign policy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's advised by people, many of which don't know what they're doing. Witkoff and Kushner, these are real estate moguls, and they seem to be his top advisors in foreign policy. And so I think basically he got himself into war, expecting it would be easy, but once he got into the war, it's a classic quagmire. He can't get out. Because if he simply walks away from the war, Iran is much more powerful than it was before, at least in a military sense. It will control the Strait of Hormuz, probably for a long time to come. And Trump will be humiliated. The United States will be humiliated. It would go down. Trump would go down as a disastrous president. He knows that. And I think that's what he's trying to avoid here. But he has no way out. Trump has no way out, except basically to capitulate. Any way this war settles, whether it's settled currently, which I hope it will be, or settled down the road, it'll be settled on the basis of terms that will favor Iran, because Iran is the upper hand. And I suspect Iran will push their upper hand and will demand things that will be very embarrassing for Trump to accede to, but in the end, you'll have to accede to them because you have no choice.
How do you see the balance in the region, in the Persian Gulf, with GCC countries? You remember they wanted to normalize, we had the Abraham Accords, and then the normalization of the relationship with Israel. Those days are gone. And right now, there's so much. The only GCC country that is close to Israel today is UAE. The other ones, you look at Saudi Arabia, for example, or Qatar, they're somehow in the middle. They don't know what to do. Qatar I think, has decided has some sort of understanding with Iran. But Saudi Arabia still, we don't know what's going on in Saudi Arabia. But they're not that close to Israel anymore. They don't.
Why is UAE? I don't have a good explanation. Why is UAE the holdout so far? What do they see in their interest to maintain a relationship with Israel at this point in time? It seems very odd to me. I don't have a good answer to that. I'm wondering, do you have any thoughts on that?
My understanding is that they have, the UAE is the country called UAE. It didn't exist during the British Empire. It was part of the desert of Oman. Oman is somehow close to the Iranian government. It's close to the American government, by the way. They have good relationship with Americans and Iranians, but they're not that much close to Israelis. But when it comes to that region, there are some sort of, they want to be the opposite position of Oman. On the other hand, they see themselves against Saudi Arabia because they were fighting Saudi Arabia in Yemen. Saudi Arabia somehow got close to Iranian position in Yemen, in Somalia. They're basically fighting Saudi Arabia in each and every part of the world. So they wanted to emphasize that they're going to be different. They're not going to be part of the GCC countries that Saudi Arabia runs. And they want to have their position at the board. My understanding of their position is this. I have no other explanation. And there's so much, because I don't see the way that Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz. You look at how those two ports, UAE ports that they were using to export oil, Iran just closed those two ports, and they're not going to be able to send oil to export oil. This is the problem for them, but they don't want to accept that. They want to be different in the region. They want to be seen as different as the other. This is the whole point, in my opinion, on their part, and I don't see any other reason for that.
You know, they're playing with fire, and the reason they're playing with fire is if this war escalates, and if Trump does something crazy like he's threatened to do, such as, let's say, destroy much of the energy infrastructure of Iran. Iran could retaliate by destroying the desalination plants in UAE. And that would be just catastrophic for UAE. And you'd think they'd be much more worried about that possibility. It just doesn't seem like a very rational policy from their standpoint to be still maintaining a positive relationship with Israel under those circumstances.
Live on Fox 1.
Yeah, the fragility, as you mentioned, with the desalination plants is that Iran is something like 2% dependent on desalination.
Yeah,
they don't need it. And these countries are basically more than 70, 80, 90% dependent on, and that's, but so far we had, even with the latest American and Israeli attack on Iran, they hit some water tanks in Iran. These islands, but Iran has never attacked desalination plants, because that's part of the Shia sort of faith that the Iranian government is still committed to that, and that's why that didn't happen so far. But when it comes to the strategy of Iran, I think with the Strait of Hormuz, they're basically, David, are sticking through the Strait of Hormuz. They want to make a new security structure for the region, and it doesn't mean that you want to put pressure, you want to have some sort of upper hand with other countries, you want to make some sort of partnership. Their understanding is the partnership between Iran and other states, if that would be possible, to my understanding. I think that's the whole agenda. They're not going to go, the Strait of Hormuz is not going to be some sort of leverage to put pressure, on their economy, because you want to say, I am the big guy in the region. But what Iran sees by the Strait of Hormuz is that before that, the United States, all those bases in GCC countries were used, and Iran was telling them for many, many years. You go back 30 years ago, you see what the Iranian Supreme Leader, the former Iranian Supreme Leader was talking about. What is the meaning of these bases in your countries? These bases are not to protect you. The bases, they're going to use these bases to attack us and to defend Israel. And after more than 30 years, you see the same thing is happening in these countries. I don't know if they're going to understand that, because the whole, we know the Saudi Arabia, the agenda of MBS in Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, is that he wants a peaceful region, a prosperous region. This is the moment that they can do something about it, in my opinion. And it should be, the move should be on the part of GCC countries. How do you see the mindset of these countries in the aftermath of during this war?
Well, I mean, China has been a stabilizing influence in my view. I think China, contrary to what a lot of people think, I think China mostly wants stability. That seems to be their aim. I don't buy the idea that they're going to become a worldwide military power. I'm just not seeing any evidence of that, really, or very little. I think in the Persian Gulf, what they want is a stable Persian Gulf. They will use their leverage, and they obviously do have some leverage there as well as everywhere else, to try and promote a stabilization of the region. Famously, of course, they had they sponsored reconciliation, at least a temporary one, between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And I think that speaks to a desire for a non-militarized Persian Gulf. I think one of the things that the world's going to have to face, though, is that Iran is likely to have control of the Strait of Hormuz for an extended period, and they will set up what some have called a toll booth in the Persian Gulf. And I think one of the motives here is to generate funds to reconstruct their country from two wars. They will claim they're entitled to reparations from the United States and Israel, and you can certainly make a case that they are, I would say. But they're not going to get reparations. That's, I think, an impossibility. So, short of reparations, they can generate funds through the shipping in the Persian Gulf. And so my guess is that they will, for an extended period of time, for at least several years, do that. Operationalize that idea. And so I think that's something the world is going to have to come to terms with, that Iran will have that kind of influence. But again, if the United States and Israel didn't want that to happen, they should never have attacked Iran. Something that has to be said, which I think is often forgotten, is the extraordinary illegality, and one has to use the word criminality of the attack. This is what the United States and Israel did was a brazen violation of the UN Charter, which is a treaty of the United States has signed. And so this is a criminal act according to international law. And people forget this, but the United States Constitution has a clause that says treaties are the supreme law of the land. If anybody reads the Constitution, treaties are the supreme law of the land, meaning they have domestic standing as domestic U.S. law. So this attack on Iran was a violation of U.S. law as well. And it's remarkable how complacent the world has become with regard to American military aggression, that they don't even notice the illegality of what has happened here, and how it violates American law as well as international law.
I think the reason that Donald Trump has decided to talk with Iranians that he couldn't achieve the regime change, which was the basic, I don't know what is your understanding of the main objective of this attack, Israeli-American, it was, in my opinion, was regime change. Yeah. Then he couldn't achieve that. He basically exhausted each and every, move that he could have done during the war. He attacked the arm production. He couldn't hit those underground cities. There is a report on Financial Times. It shows more than 40 times Israeli and American attacked an underground city in Yaz, in the city of Yaz, in the eastern part of Iran. But they couldn't hit it the way that could somehow destroy it. So Iran, till the last moment before the ceasefire being announced, Iran was attacking the United States, was attacking GCC countries and Israel from that base. So they reached some sort of conclusion that we cannot destroy it. So they went after the bridges, hospitals, schools, and these are so. The other move, in my opinion, he tried to convince Russia to help him. Then he went to China. The summit, he went to China. He literally wanted China to open the Strait of Hormuz. And you remember, he was begging Europeans to join the fight in the Strait of Hormuz. Do something about it.
Yeah. Well, it's a certain desperation. I mean, from China and Russia's standpoint, I'm sure they're very impressed with Iran's military capability, I think, as everybody has been. They performed far better than I expected. I expect far better than anybody expected, including in Beijing and Moscow. And Iran has proven itself a very worthy ally to China and Russia. And I don't see anything in their incentive, any incentive they would have, to see a defeat for Iran. I think, as I said, both countries, I think particularly China, have an interest in ending the war at some point and bringing stability, but a defeat for Iran is something that China and Russia will not support and probably will not tolerate. My guess is if Iran starts to run with missiles, which I don't think is about to happen, but if they were, I suspect Iran would get missiles, replacement missiles from China and Russia. I just don't think they want Iran to lose this war. And so Trump, I think, was desperate, must have been very desperate to put pressure on those countries, since there wasn't a chance they would agree. As far as the Europeans go, what could they do? I mean, they could send down a small number of ships. They have a much smaller navy than the U.S. And if the U.S. Navy couldn't open up the Strait of Hormuz, how could the Europeans help? So there really wasn't any, I think, well thought out process going on here. And the Europeans had no incentive to get involved in a war. They couldn't help with anyway. Militarily, there was no incentive for them whatsoever to do this. They also could be attacked. There was that possibility. They could be attacked by the Iranians. And so I think, again, what we have here is a very desperate American president who is grasping at remote possibilities because he doesn't see any other option. The option he's going to have to take, as I said, is to accept defeat and walk away. The question is he there yet? My guess is probably not. The time will come when he will be there. Again, the world economy is going to put such pressure on him. He will have no choice at a certain point in time. And I think that time is approaching, but it's possible the level of economic pressure isn't quite at the point Trump's ready to walk away yet. Again, it's possible I'm wrong, and maybe we're about to see an end to the war right now. But I wouldn't bet on it.
Right.
I think what Iran sees, looking at it, we don't know basically what is the mindset of decision makers in Iran, but from their actions, from what they've done so far, we can understand their main focus is on the region. Because they're basically, with this new plan that they're talking about, is about Gaza, Palestine, Lebanon, and they want to do something when it comes to the Israeli invasion of these people, Lebanese people, Palestinian people.
That. What did they say about Gaza? Okay, I know about Lebanon, but what are the Iranians saying about Gaza?
He said that in the final decisions that they're going to make, if they reach something with the United States, Israel has to stop attacking Gazans. In a long plan, together with other countries, they want Israel to withdraw from Gaza. This is the plan that they're putting out. This is the mindset on the part of Iranians. They're basically mostly focused on the region, GCC countries, American bases in GCC countries, and what's going on in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Syria is so important for Iran as well. We know that the Assad government is gone and the new government is not, Iran is not in favor of this government, but they don't want chaos after all for Syria. And this is the policy of Iran. But coming out, you mentioned the case of China. China sees the bigger picture because they're far away from the conflict and they see what is the outcome of the conflict, considering putting together with what has happened in Venezuela. The United States basically is trying to control to have some sort of dominance on the energy market. That's the main reason in Venezuela. Many people are arguing that was the main reason of attacking Iran. So they want, just imagine if they could have controlled the Strait of Hormuz. What would have been the outcome of that? Huge for China, in my opinion. Look at the Strait of Hormuz, the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, not only oil and gas, but fertilizer, helium, everything, even the internet. So China, in my opinion, you mentioned how China is backing, because China has no choice. China sees what's going on in Venezuela, and Venezuela was providing China with oil. They're gone. Nothing more is happening there. So if you remove Iran from the scene, if you remove the Strait of Hormuz, the control, so they're going to be that's a huge loss for China. For Russia, it's different. They see the South Caucasus. They see what's going on in Armenia, Azerbaijan. They see how this sort of movement from Syria going to Central Asia can destabilize Russia in Chechnya, in Dagestan, this Muslim, sort of movement, radical, Salafi, jihadi, not jihad, Salafi or Wahhabi sort of movement that is Russia was fighting for more than 10 years to stabilize the situation in Russia from 2000 to 2010. That's a huge loss for Russia and China. That's why I think both China and Russia are supporting Iran in this war.
I think, with Russia, I assume one of their assumptions would be that if the United States could get some degree of control over Iran, they would use it as a base to sort of infiltrate support into Muslim areas of southern Russia, Dagestan, for example, to destabilize Russia. That would be their fear. You can see how, under the circumstances, that would be something they'd be very worried about. There's a long-standing relationship between Iran and Russia. As everyone knows, of course, the Iranian Shahed drone was widely used by the Russians in Ukraine, and they developed their own drone, the Gerad, which is developed in the Shahed. And so I think based on all of these considerations, Venezuela was seen as maybe, shall we say, an ally of secondary importance. Iran is of primary importance, and they're much closer. There wasn't that much Russia and China could do about Venezuela, just partly given the distance. But Iran is a different story. I don't think China or Russia will allow Iran to lose this war. And it's not likely to happen, because Iran, it seems to me, is doing just fine with its missiles. But again, they will resupply Iran if Iran requires resupply, if that's necessary. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. Donald Trump, in his visit of China, tried to replace Iran with the United States, with the energy of the United States. Said, you can remove Iran, I'm going to provide you with oil. But China doesn't want to be dependent when it comes to, because energy is so critical. It's totally related to their, to their national security. That's why they don't want to be dependent. They have diversified the way that they're importing oil and gas. That's why, because they didn't want to be dependent on Iran or Russia, because that's why they somehow diversified the energy sector. And but coming in, considering the United States as part of that deal, I think there is no way for them to accept the United States or to let the United States enter in that area, providing them with energy, because that is a huge, that could produce some sort of problem for them if the United States decides some way, no, we're not going to send you. Because I think what the United States was talking about in China, that they were not talking about the oil or gas from the United States, they were basically talking about the Venezuelan oil.
Yeah.
Because the oil from Venezuela goes in the hand of the Trump administration. They are selling the oil of Venezuela. It's not the Venezuelan government.
At least like 5 years or so.
Well, there's no doubt one of the reasons the United States decided to intervene in Venezuela was to get direct control of their oil, which effectively they have. They want to do the same thing with Iran, and with much less success. Evidently, Iran obviously is a much more formidable country than Venezuela. I think what happened in Venezuela is Trump became overconfident. He went in; it was easy. He with remarkably little cost, and he figured if we can do it in Venezuela, I'm on a roll right now. And, I'll get another success in Iran. It'll be just the same thing in Iran, and it's very clear Iran was extremely well prepared for this war, not only at the military level but the political level. They have multiple layers of leadership that can be put in place as one previous layer is killed. They're prepared for that. They were prepared for that, and that seems to be basic to the operating procedure. And the result has been a disaster for the United States, a disaster really for the whole world. This is so unnecessary. This whole war was so unnecessary. But the world's been dragged into it, like it or not.
Do you think that Donald Trump gonna learn from what has happened during the last 3 months? Because looking at the war in Ukraine, coming out of the Middle East, last time we talked, you remember, it was all about Ukraine. Right now, it's about Ukraine and the West Asia. So, do you see Donald Trump being capable of getting out of the chaos he has created in the West Asia to focus a little bit on Ukraine, or he's gonna hand over the two problems in Ukraine and in the Middle East, in the West Asia, to the next president?
I think what Trump has been trying to do is to distance himself from the Ukraine conflict. The U.S. is still engaged. To the best of my knowledge, we're giving intelligence targeting information to the Ukrainians. The United States is giving some weapons to the Ukrainians, partly paid for by the Europeans. I don't think the U.S. has that many weapons to give anymore. We've depleted our stockpiles so much. But on the whole, I think he's trying to turn over the Ukraine issue to the Europeans. And trying to walk away from that at least to some degree. What's very striking about all of this is, of course, Trump ran for president in 2016 and again in 2024 as an anti-war president. He's the president who would not do permanent wars, he would not do endless wars. He criticized the Democrats with justification of being the war party, of being full of war hawks, which was true. And he wouldn't be like that. And a lot of people voted for him because he seemed less warlike than the Democrats. Needless to say, he's very much gone back on that promise. He surprised a lot of people, I think. I did not expect him to be this degree of hawkishness. I have to add, there has been a change. In his first term, he did a lot of very violent things, but he did not start any new wars. He's almost, not quite, but almost the first president since 1945 in his first term who did not start any new wars. Okay. Gerald Ford, who was only in office for 2.5 years, didn't start any wars either, but he's a special case. So he was, to some extent, a president who was less warlike in his first term. His second term, obviously, he's completely changed.
Who was the guy that was with
And what accounts for that change, I don't quite understand at this point. Why has he become this uber hawk, this hyper hawkish president in his second term in a way he was not in his first term? I don't really have a good answer for that. Well, I do have an answer. Should I go on, or do you want to interject anything?
Go ahead. I think what is important, because the Trump administration, you remember when they started, they had Tulsi Gabbard. We were thinking that J.D. Vance was totally different. You look at the way J.D. Vance is behaving today, because they were all against the war. Tulsi Gabbard was totally against the war. You remember her position before joining the Trump administration. And finally, she got out of the Trump administration. I don't know who's running. My understanding is that the Trump administration is totally dominated by the Zionists.
And well, to some degree, that's part of it. Although I would say they've always been dominated by the Zionists to a significant extent. I'm not sure that basic fact is not really a big change. If I had to guess, the best I can make of it is this: I think one of the second term for president, Trump didn't just want to be a two-term president; he wanted to be a truly great president. He wanted to go down like Abraham Lincoln or Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And first he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. He felt entitled to the Nobel Peace Prize and didn't give it to him. So he wrote a very remarkable letter to the Norwegian ambassador to the United States saying that he's very angry. The Norwegians, of course, administer the Nobel Peace Prize. Norwegians did not give him the Nobel Peace Prize. And he wanted to be a peace president, but now that he didn't get the peace prize, maybe he should be a war president instead. Well, that's what we're getting here. I do think that he looked at past presidents and said, who were the great presidents? They were war-winning presidents. Lincoln was, Roosevelt was, they both won wars. So what I have to do is fight and win a war. And if I can fight and win a big war and get a victory, I'll go down like they did as a great president. I think that's how he was thinking about it. He was thinking in grandiose terms. He tends to think in grandiose terms. That much is not about him. And so I think that's how he looked at it. The Israelis assured him. They promised him this would be an easy win for you. This would enable you to become a great war-winning president. And the Israelis always know what they're talking about. They're never wrong. I guess is how he saw it. And so they managed to draw him into a war that's going to prove undermining of his whole presidency and his whole administration. That will be the result of this.
I think Netanyahu convinced him that if you bring down the Iranian government, if you make Iran an ally of the United States or a puppet of the United States, that would be you're going to be remembered in the history of the United States forever.
That's right.
But the outcome is totally the opposite. He's going to be remembered as the worst defeated president of the United States.
I agree. I mean, this could be a historic defeat in the sense we've had defeats before in Iraq and Afghanistan. Effectively, those were defeats in Vietnam, of course. This is different, though, because I think this could very well be a hinge point in which people will say that's the end of American hegemony. And Trump will be remembered as the president who ended American hegemony on the most humiliating terms, under the most humiliating circumstances. It could very well be that is going to be his legacy. That could be where he's headed. Most likely, I think that is where he's headed.
It just doesn't sound like him.
Thank you so much, David, for being with us today. Great pleasure, as always. See you soon. Bye-bye.
It's all on video, okay? Then, when another deputy tried to stop him because they located him at Buc-ee's in the parking lot, he fled from that lieutenant. And eventually the helicopter got on top of him, and he decided to drive over I-4 at over 130 miles an hour.
Blowing through red lights.
Blowing through red lights, in and out of traffic, and lo and behold, he ends up over here where...
I-4?
I-4,
But there's not red lights.
Okay, so let's stop.
But you're just saying around.
He's running red lights all night.
So basically, he fled. You know where the speedway is?
Yes.
Once he got to the speedway, he just started gunning it, and he was blowing through all the red lights. And once he got, if you take speedway towards this direction, it merges onto I-4. Then he got on I-4, and he did basically what the max speed of the bike was because he was outrunning our helicopter. But they got elevation, so they were able to keep everything in video and keep us flying where he was at. So that's the deal.
Yeah. So he gets over here, and I guess at some point they get him pinned in, and he's now riding circles around the officers over here, like a smartass.
Okay, but do you think he was just scared?
Oh my gosh.
Home? Because I don't...
No, I think he's stupid.
Live here, you don't...
Man, he's
This is
doing a wheelie in terror. This is for him. He's being...
Get her.
Any hesitation? No, he's being
I agree with that.
stupid.
If this is what happened, I agree with
This is
that.
what, it's all on video.
I think
I
he's
don't believe
He's
necessarily
been videoing you with his damn GoPros.
going around. I believe that he was probably scared and just wanted to.
So he was so scared that he decided to do circles in the middle of International Speedway Boulevard, taunting us to come chase him.
Question, ma'am. Why do you think he has a tag on his vehicle that says "Will Run"?
Because it was a joke.
Okay,
I
and
know about it.
you've been a driver in a motor.
Which, by the way, it's not even his license, so you're displaying a fictitious plate.
Right. Yes.
That's a crime too, Mom.
Charge.
For quite some time, right? You know, you're not supposed to have any other tag other than what's registered on your vehicle. This isn't a joke, and I will tell you, for people like him, it's a culture.
It is.
It's true. They have whole YouTube channels for it.
See, taunting is not a crime, right? We do it all the time for
Which is
fun,
exactly
right?
why
Taunt
he
each
was
other a
filming
little
it,
bit.
because he intended
See the
to put it on
difference?
YouTube.
Right, that's just stupid. That is
And
stupid.
benefit, you
And
know,
then
for
asking
social
the
media
parent, yeah, why
or
wouldn't you tell
financially
your kid?
from it.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
take that off. Are you
tag on your
stupid?
bike come from?
That tag, I ordered it.
You
Yeah.
ordered it? Where'd you
Taunt the
order it from?
police? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Anything on Amazon.
Right, I mean, that's, you know, they depend on that, but
It comes like that.
apparently.
Where's your regular tag?
Probably at my house.
Right, I mean, you gotta be
So why do
lighthearted.
you have that tag on there?
I mean,
not
it's
your
a
regular
small
tag?
thing.
Do you
To
think
give
that's
someone
kinda
really a
funny
hard
that you
time
put a tag
about it, it's
on
like
your
a
bike that says
warning,
Will
like,
Run, and then you run
alright,
for
you
the
knew
police?
better, right? Good,
I just
lesson
seen a
learned.
clip on Instagram that had the same thing, so I thought it'd be funny.
I see that.
Or teach others that that was stupid, as
all
opposed to
those
saying,
GoPros that
oh,
have,
they
like,
get a
on
call
it,
and giving
we're
a
gonna get
hard
search
time
warrant for
over
you, throw a video on how many times did you run
Right, I
from
mean,
the
go
police
either way
on those
with it.
videos?
Probably none.
None.
Probably none.
For a fact, you
A bad memory.
can go from one of our other deputies.
Now he's.
That bike.
That's that oh crap moment when he realizes, wait, what video do I have on this
They're
GoPro?
gonna go through my social media.
Yeah.
Or yeah, my GoPro.
There should be none on there. That'd be the only night to play that.
Let's see.
Given that Ashton committed the crimes across Volusia and
Nice move.
he was charged with felony, fleeing, attempting.
Look at, it's like an old Billy Goat. And frankly, you get off the bike and you're like, you look like this. You got yourself a beard and a first class mullet, and you getting off the bike going,
Like
I'm
Joe
a
Dirt."
kid. I'm a kid. Yeah, looking like Joe Dirt. All right, here we go.
To elude ×5. Attempting, fleeing, eluding at high speed ×2. Over the line fleeing. Attempting to elude ×3. Possession of a counterfeited license plate. Over the line possession of counterfeit license plate. Counterfeit motor vehicle registration. Misdemeanor, resisting obstructing an officer. Reckless driving, and altering license plate validation sticker. His total bond for both.
Maine Housing hopes eligible Mainers buy, rent, heat, and repair their homes. Visit mainehousing.org to see if you qualify.
You're going nowhere.
$50. Eventually, he was found guilty of 4 counts of fleeing, attempting to.
Father's Day in America. A time to honor all fathers. As a Christ-centered leader of your family, your dedication to protecting them and raising strong children is admirable. You model what it means to persevere through discipline to achieve your goals. GCU proudly supports you as you make time for what matters most. Happy Father's Day from Grand Canyon University.
And look, the kid deserves for what he did. However,
Gideon, thank you so much for joining us. For Americans who are distracted by what's happening in Iran and with the U.S. economy and by so many other things, can you bring us up to date on what is happening right now in Gaza, the West Bank, Judea, Samaria, and Lebanon?
48 months probation. That's not.
It's a war with some interruptions. It's a roller coaster. You go to sleep in Tel Aviv with a ceasefire. You wake up in the morning with ballistic missiles over your head. Gaza is bleeding and totally forgotten. I guess we'll have the opportunity to talk more about Gaza, which is very dear to my heart. In Lebanon, Israelis fighting for nothing, without any purpose. People are killed, villages, whole villages are being destroyed systematically, very similar to Gaza. Israeli soldiers are killed on a daily basis almost. And the whole thing seems like an ongoing war without any purpose, without any justification, and above all, without any end games, any real goals. What will stop it except of this desire to fight, and to fight, and to kill?
I am living my dream.
What is the point? You say there's no point to it, but it clearly is part of a larger strategy, I would assume. I mean, it's got to be. What do you think the bigger point of this is?
So first of all, Israel was taught to believe that it is doomed to live on its sword. That the only language that we can talk in this region, as we are the villa in the jungle, so to say, the only language that we can use here is the language of military power and as brutal as possible. This was before Netanyahu. Many things, by the way, were before Netanyahu. Netanyahu intensified those things. And today, the only language clearly that Israel is speaking is the language of war. Anything can be solved only by war. Nothing can be solved by any other way, like diplomacy, compromises, etc. And here we are involved in so many fronts. You know, Tucker, there are around 6 million people in the Middle East who were expelled from the homes, who are uprooted. Part of them will never see their homes again. 2 million in Gaza, 1 million in Lebanon. For a while there were also 2 million in Iran, now not anymore. But think about this. All of them because of wars of choice, all of them because of a very violent policy of Israel, which might here and there have the justification, like after the 7th of October, another thing that I think we'll get into. But the proportion, the scale, and where are we aiming? Where are we aiming, for God's sake? Is Israel today a better place? Is it a safer place than 2023? Is it more popular in the world? What did we gain out of all those wars? And unfortunately, Tucker, those questions are hardly being discussed in Israel. And this, in many ways, depresses me almost more than the wars itself. The fact that a whole people, 10 million people, very intelligent, very ideological, and with very clear views, go to all those wars blindly and automatically without asking ourselves why, what for, what do we gain? Put aside the moral side. Let's say morality is for, spoil the Gideon Levis or leftist self-hating Jews. Practically, are we living in a better place? The answer is unfortunately not. You can add to it, obviously, Tucker, all the personal motivations of Benjamin Netanyahu, which in my view are not exclusive, they are not the only. There are those among my friends who think that he does everything only for his career, only in order to stay in power. I give him more credit because I think he has an ideology, a very dangerous one, but he has an ideology which motivates him as well. But no doubt that those last wars served first of all his personal interest. He has tried.
That's a pretty good plea, and it was probably based on the fact that he's a kid. He's a kid.
Mommy got a nice lawyer.
Yeah, you know. And look, I'm all for that. I mean, I'm all for you defending your child, but let him suffer some consequences initially, and don't make excuses for him, please, folks. This is why kids act the way they are, and then immediately claim.
Chevy drivers need a truck that shows up the same way they do. That's why Chevy Silverado is #1 in manufacturer loyalty, so they can go where others won't and always get it done.
We're doing a collaboration, so he.
You have all these military-style vehicles to take on the Northern Irish protesters. Where were these when they knew about the roving R gangs, the grooming gangs? They obviously have these resources, but they only deploy them one way. Immigrant shops in Belfast are set on fire. Gunlighters. And I think there's a a way to get your message across, and there's a way to give them reason to clamp down and send the riot police at you.
What's the general mood in the city?
It's very eerie. It's like a ticking time bomb. It's like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off.
Do you think this is gonna last, or is it gonna...
Yeah, I think it is gonna last, yeah. I hope it lasts. I hope it does. We don't give up this time. Stormont or over in Westminster,
Yeah, if they back off now, the government knows. We just gotta arrest enough of them and go away. We just gotta spray enough of them with the water cannons, and we can just keep on going through with looking the other way and banning social media platforms that will let you know that, hey, we let in some people in this country that weren't vetted properly. I believe the man that tried to behead the guy on Monday was supposed to have to seek asylum, was supposed to have an in-person interview, but they said, you know what, we're so overburdened with taking in asylum or asylees or refugees, you can just fill out a 10-page questionnaire and welcome to Ireland. I'm sorry, welcome to the UK. That's how he got to stay in the country.
Not represent us. They don't listen to us. Happy he was living in assisted living where our elderly should be. So why are they getting housed overtly?
We say, what else left for them to do when you've exhausted all means and legalities, petitions? You can't expect them to give up. Yeah, I think that you don't want them to give up. I just don't think you burn down your own city bus to get your message across.
Have our homeless in the trams in Belfast City Centre. Government aren't looking after them. So they're not looking after us. Our children's school places are being taken away. We can't get hospital appointments. I know that. My daughter waited 10 years on a hospital appointment to be diagnosed. So,
and that's what Marco Rubio said for the US, where they say American citizens are getting put in the back seat, where they say an American paying into the tax base for their entire life, working a blue-collar job, they're expected to live off $1,000 a month after retirement through Social Security. But if you are a migrant coming in the border, coming over the border during the Biden administration, you didn't follow the rules to get in, and then also, you still don't have any legal status in this country, by all means take your free hotel room in a 5-star accommodation. Get your $5,000 of EBT food stamps because you got 3 kids you brought along with you, and also free medical care wherever you choose because we make you citizen. You're not a citizen. You're a citizen plus in this country, and it's like that's something that is entirely unsustainable long term.
Never would have thought I would ever say.
What else are they supposed to do? Take this protest to the feet of the politicians, not to the feet of the social housing that one day you will like to, it's not repatriate, but it's like they built all this housing and there's a housing crisis in Northern Ireland. You want that housing for veterans, you want the housing for citizens, you want the housing to become storefronts or schools. You don't burn it down, you deport the people that are there illegally and then utilize it for the citizens.
I don't want them in my country. I don't want them in my country anymore. My country's been through enough. We have murdered each other for years. We're trying to come together, and I think this is what's going to unite us. I hope it's going to unite both sides and bring us all together. Peaceful, that's all we want. We've been through our troubles and we're getting bossed in more.
When I like what Conor McGregor said, saying, just because we're peaceful doesn't mean we're harmless.
They have no loyalty to us, and when crunch comes to crunch, they're going to side with their own countries, and we have to stick together and side with each other here in Ireland. It has to be.
Yeah, they burned down. This is obviously not a market that serves the Irish natives, and that's likely why it got set ablaze. But the sad part is, like I said, content of the character, not the color of their skin. You don't go around there saying anybody that's here just because you wanted a better life for yourself and our government promised you free passage into the country and free accommodations. That's why so many of them get here and say, where's my pocket money? Because somebody promised them pocket money. Don't get everybody, but when you see somebody like this, okay, by all means, you can deport this person. They say, I don't even know how to pronounce that word, Dungannon, Northern Ireland, says immigrant mocking the race hate attack of one of their own where the guy was beheaded and she's making a joke out of it. So they recorded her first, and she did it, and now she's doing it again as if this is something to make jokes about. I don't care. Maybe she's not actually harming anybody, but that's not somebody you want in the country. This is not somebody that you are going to assimilate into Irish or British culture. This is someone that gets deported.
Oh my god!
This is pretty much a, I don't want to say accurate, but this is a horrific rendition of what happened to that guy. Deport this person immediately. They serve no benefit to society. Again, there may be some free speech law. I don't even know if the UK has free speech anymore, but there may be some things that saying this is okay. But again, if you hate the country that much, I don't understand why you'd want to be here in the first place. But the problem is the powers that be have said people like this are our strength. The crime occurred over in Belfast, and the new Lord Mayor, as of June 1st, because they do day, month, year, as of June 1st, which the attack occurred on Monday, which is what, 3 days ago. So just a week before, the guy got nearly beheaded by a guy that was snuck into Ireland from Sudan, then snuck into Northern Ireland and was in Belfast, and instead of having a one-on-one interview to see if, okay, are you compatible with UK society, can you be here, are you seeking asylum, they just let him fill out a 10-page survey, and now he's there. The mayor...
Take the wheel of a new 2026 Sportage Hybrid and set out on your next adventure from Charlie's Kia. Enjoy impressive range and a standard 12.3-inch curved touchscreen display with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Click now to view our inventory during the summer sticker sale.
There was saying, you know what? Diversity is our strength, or diversity enriches our city, and they can't backtrack from it, so they're just going to delete any evidence that diversity is not indeed enriching their city.
I love this city. I was born here, and I've lived in it all my life. It's a city made great by its people. Moreover, I want to bring a message of diversity and inclusiveness to the year ahead. I was raised in an inclusive, welcoming environment where difference and...
How old is she? If she was raised in an inclusive, diverse environment, I don't know if she was raised in the amount of diversity that she is bringing in to her community. If she is at least probably 40 years old, I'm guessing. She looks 40. If she's 40 years old, she grew up in the 90s in the Belfast community. There was not this level of diversity in Northern Ireland in the 90s. Yeah, Mayor Karen, it's sad.
Diversity is embraced and celebrated, and I'm proud of that.
The man is recovering. He lost one eye. I believe he has loss of hearing, and they had to staple his face back together because the guy was genuinely taking off his skull.
My upbringing has shown me that
he's about 30, so then she grew up in Belfast, Ireland, if this is true. Early 2000s. This is before social media. This is really took off. This is like early internet age era. Liberalism was Donald Trump, like Bill Clinton era. Obama era was very much against immigration. So it's like, yeah, she grew up in a conservative era, even though they label that them Democrats now. But this is the problem. I'm very detached from the consequences of my policies, but let me tell you why it's a good thing.
Deserves to be and must be treated equally. I want a Belfast that does that in word and in action, no matter your background. I want a Belfast where language rights are respected and cherished because they belong to all of us. I want a Belfast where we champion the rights of the most vulnerable in our society and do so proudly without fear or favour.
Whatever happened to women and children being the most vulnerable in our society? Because it seems like there's a lot of attacks and violence towards them, and yet they never want to address it. They just want to sweep it under the rug. It's terrifying.
I will never accept that undeniable rights are merely privileges to be given and taken from those in need by those in power.
Undeniable rights to them is garbage. Anything that requires the labor of another human being is not a human right, including medical care, food, any services whatsoever. Like, just if it requires the labor of the peasants to give to you, it's not a human right. It's something that needs to be given through order or capitalism, essentially. But the fact that she said, like, oh yeah, human right, housing, well, you gotta build them the house, you gotta give them the electricity, you gotta give them food, you gotta give them healthcare, like all these things is like, these aren't human rights. These are things we'd like to give everybody, but that's not reality.
Diversity enriches our city and the lives of all of our citizens, and I will champion that diversity.
Yeah, this is going to haunt her for a very long time. Diversity enriches the city. It's going to provide, what you say again?
And the lives of all of our citizens, and I will champion that.
I will champion that. You put that beside the guy getting beheaded, championing that, and it's like, it is why the Irish or the Northern Ireland is so upset about it. Oh, thanks to the Prime Sub Comment Shadow. They can't turn around. Like, what is it? They found Keir Starmer, him talking about the attack in Belfast, which was on June 9th. So it's 8 days after she said diversity enriches Belfast, saying the horrific attack in Belfast was sickening. I have no tolerance for the abhorrent scenes of violence like this on the streets. My thoughts are first and foremost with the victim. I thank the first responders, including the members of the public who intervened. They took like a shovel and beat him over the head. Good on them for stepping in. The guy would not be around if it was not for these brave men that stepped in. 3 small sentences about the literal attempted beheading of what people in chat are starting to say that he was deaf. So possibly disabled guy. The possible beheading or the attempted beheading of a possibly deaf guy. 3 sentences, but there are subsequent riots. Oh, that takes the essay. The scenes in Belfast last night were shocking and completely unacceptable. There's no justification in the violence and disorder we saw threatening our communities. I'm gonna go ahead and say the beheading, the grooming gangs, and the Taylor Swift dance party that was slashed up over a year ago. The fact that you guys backed up the guy with the knife that stabbed that poor dude to death, and they tried to hide it. The entire family was in on the murder, and the fact that apparently that the Sikh guy, there's video of him firing a firearm in his backyard. There were complaints about it, but no legal repercussions for it. And the fact that he also had stolen over 1,000 pounds or whatever, like $1,200 of sabers or knives from his own temple, that got swept under the rug as well. There's kind of a reason for the disorder that was happening in that community, but no, he's just completely disavowing it. Oh, a hurling stick, okay. A sports instrument, so it's kind of like is it like a field hockey stick? I don't know. I'm not well versed in their sports, unfortunately. Oh yeah, we saw threatening our community, nor for those who encourage it online or elsewhere. They're really trying to lock down social media because, like the other person said, what is it?
There are trucks, and then there's the 2026 GMC Sierra. It's the truck. During GMC Truck Month, get 0% APR for 5 years on 2026 Sierra 1500 models.
Botox Cosmetic Myth or Fact, Let's Face It Challenge. How far can you get? Level 1. Botox Cosmetic clumps and adds volume to the face.
Just because you ban social media in Britain, it won't stop the beheadings. It will stop you from knowing about the beheadings. And that's the reason the radical leftist government of Keir Starmer wants to ban X in Britain. They don't plan on stopping these murders, or these attempted murders, or these grooming gangs. They plan on you not knowing about them, so you can't rise up against the government for allowing it. I'm saying it here, I think either Keir Starmer is just a genuinely evil person, like just genuinely evil, like something against humanity, or they have something going on. There's no reason you would allow this to occur unless there was something that was being held over you. So he said, it is clear that people targeted last night because of their background, and I will not tolerate it. Those responsible will feel the full force of the law. Interesting how there's only one full force of law going one way. Again, I don't like the fact that you're burning down your own buses. I don't like the fact that you're burning down taxpayer-funded housing. But where was this speech? Like, right here, he was disavowing the horrific attack, but he never said full force of the law of the guy that tried to behead the person in Belfast. Where was that line? I will not tolerate violent attacks on our disabled people. I will not tolerate people taking advantage of our gracious asylum policies. Where's that part of it? This is the reason why they're burning down entire towns in your area, because the the UK citizens are frustrated that you are going to allow more attacks like this to happen. Yeah, 2 take here, exactly. I've spoken to the Chief Constable and the Police Service of Northern Ireland to convey my thanks to them and their frontline emergency services for their bravery in keeping people safe with blasting people behind tanks with water cannons. I'm not saying being a copper is not a hard job, and what they do isn't brave. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say, if you're blasting somebody from the safety of a tank with a water cannon, I'm not really giving you a medal of bravery, a medal of valor for what you're doing there. This seems very, very much like light work. I've also spoken to the First Minister and Deputy First Minister to discuss the ongoing situation. Appealing for calm must be the priority, and this is what I urge now. We must let the police get on with their work. Well, the police aren't actually going to do their work. That's why you got riots on your hands. That's why you essentially have a revolution going on right now. But where was this? I think he was on camera saying we need calm, but then they split that video with him during the BLM riots, and he was like, I'm appalled with what I can't do a British accent. I'm appalled by what President Trump is doing, the BLM riots, and he's like taking the knee and taking a picture, and it's like, what the fuck you doing, dude? He's okay with riots over BLM, but riots against him for not enforcing the law, apparently that's bad news. I can't do the accent when I'm doing the accent, guys. I'm sorry. But again, the UK, they just want to ban social media. They don't want you to know. Like when they have the Sophia Dundee and the online rights BS machine. And in case you're not aware, I had to be careful with this video because they are kids. And apparently they actually were being attacked by a migrant ex-offender that I think he was found guilty of, I forgot what. But we covered this almost 9 months ago. So let's just watch a little bit of it. How does a country, let's not watch me like 10 pounds ago. This is not fun. Okay, let's watch this. What's worse is why is the media making them out to be the villain? As this video from Scotland is going viral. UK again. She has a knife and axe, and you have you have full-grown adults yelling at girls. Why do you have knives? Like, why are you talking to them in the first place? Why do you think this is gonna make society on your side that you're a full-grown adult with your camera out saying, show me the knives, show what you were doing to me? It's like, wait. Pretty certain these girls weren't pulling knives and axes on just everybody they saw that day. They only pulled them out on you. What did you do to cause this?
Don't touch her! That's it! No, that's it! That's why my don't say to
You're a kid. And why do kids think they need to carry these things around? It's because your government has not been making them feel safe. Because they're well aware. In places like the UK, you're gonna go to jail for a very long time for carrying these around. You have to be absolutely terrified for your life to risk your freedom to kind of ensure your safety from creepy adults like whoever's recording this. But rest assured, Scotland, the girl has been arrested. Yeah, they charged her, but then very recently, they charged the guy recording, I believe. Like most viral videos, we're only seeing a brief glimpse into men, and it is a crime for them to even see something framed. Where this other clip from the UK shows what their police are preoccupied with. Where the police to defend the girl that was carrying the axe, they're busy. What is this? They're busy arresting this girl because they're not allowed to be there in McDonald's after 5 p.m. But she has her takeouts are preoccupied with after 5 p.m. Yeah, the UK has all their priorities out of order. Again, the Sophia Dundee, the online rights BS machine. I think somewhere they have this girl was protecting her older sister from a predator who is later, I believe he's just been convicted or just charged of something. There's a reason why people are rising up against you, and you just don't get it. Long messages against riots, very short message to literal attempted beheadings. But this is going to get worse before it gets better, because what is this? This is over in London, in Sheffield.
Be nice.
Yeah, the police over there, what do you call them, the bobbies, I don't think that they have the power they think they do, and the more emboldened the protesters, rioters, activists, whatever you're gonna call them, the more emboldened they get and the more frustrated they get with the whole scenario.
Bail jumping times 2.
the more they're going to push their buttons, the more they're going to try to resist. It's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets any better. Well, this is just a tweet saying the Bulgarian migrant who attacked the 2 girls in Scotland found guilty. Belov was found guilty of assaulting kids, acting in a threatening, abusive manner towards them, and her sister also pleaded guilty to the assault on the girl. So the whole family is over here committing these crimes against them, and the only thing we saw out there was, oh yeah, we're charging them. Oh, these the online rights BS machine is how they handle it. And you wonder why there's mass riots and uprisings over in the UK, because something was horrendously wrong here. You don't have to be somebody there, like, what Keir says, oh, people from far away on social media inflaming the scenario. No. The video in a crime is inflaming the scenario. Me noticing it and saying, hey, look, we got a platform of 1 million subscribers. Let's talk about what's happening over there, so we make certain that what happens over in Europe doesn't make it over to my community, because I don't want the kids in my community to worry about families assaulting kids so much that they gotta carry axes and knives because they don't think the police will help them.
It sucks. Takes you off.
To love outside, you might have to hate it first.
Jerk.
Little boxes made of ticky-tacky little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes all the same, and they all look just the same.
Visit your Volkswagen dealer today and get 1.9% APR or $3,500 customer bonus on a new 2026 Atlas.
How long has it been here, Celeste? You need to get over your shit, soldier.
Revolutionary Guards in Iran attacked American destroyers.
An emergency meeting.
Is this the end of the ceasefire? The United States, in a powerful retaliatory strike in Iran, and the tension in the Middle East is just increasing. It is possible that the next Iranian attack will leave the United States with no choice but to return to the fighting. Right now, 50,000 American soldiers are closing in on Iran. If the Iranians do not agree, the bombings will begin. This is according to the President of the United States. An exchange of fire between Iran and the United States in the Strait of Hormuz led to renewed tensions in this region. The least quiet neighborhood in the world, which is the Middle East. And Washington thwarted an Iranian attack and responded with strikes against military targets. After the nighttime drama, Trump claimed that these were taps of love. The ceasefire is still in effect. Iran published a response. Our army forces attacked American military vessels in revenge. I'm Yair Pinto, with me is Mati Shoshani, and we are boots on the ground bringing you the whole truth about what's happening here in Israel, and also the whole truth about what's happening in our neighborhood, the Middle East. And today is the first day in maybe this new round of fighting, we're not sure. And we will already bring you the whole truth about the tension in the Strait of Hormuz that is just escalating. The confirmation and the confrontation.
The ideology. They say Shia Bach Nadara, or the Shiites don't lose. Even when they lose, they don't lose. They refuse to admit it. It reminds everybody of that Monty Python Black Knight segment where, by every objectable, observable metric, they're losing, but they will not, at least in terms
the actual
will
social
force,
security card and the actual line that you sign on.
This is why I think it's not just about decapitation to the strategy point of the question. What is needed to flip the script on these guys, because they are a little bit different from Hamas and Hezbollah. There is a greater social base, unfortunately, that will support Hamas, and there is a greater social base, even within Lebanon, that will support Hezbollah. The regime has a social base, but it's a very narrow social base. And even doing diplomacy with America after America just killed all these folks actually puts real pressure not on the vast swaths of anti-regime Iranians, but on the tiny local minority of pro-regime Iranians, that 10 to 15%, perhaps even less, because now they're ideologically divided. And to that end, I don't see things ending well for this regime if we move from a strategy of decapitation to decimation. That's the approach that has to work. It's not just about the guys at the top because they'll filter through. You have to cut the command and control at the middle from the thugs that enforce the order of the Islamist clerics and the IRGC at the grassroots level and the people at the top. You have to make the top wobble and realize that it's not just going to be able to fill the next rank, but it's not going to have enough people below to carry out orders. And that's why if there is a resumption of hostilities, it's not hitting bridges that will deliver for Americans and Israelis. It will be hitting Basijis. It'll be hitting the paramilitaries. It'll be hitting...
At Darling's Hyundai in Augusta, summer is here and so are the savings. Lease a 2026 Hyundai Elantra, only $299 a month, 0 down, first payment only due at signing. Or lease a 2026 Hyundai Sonata, only $299 a month, $22.99 due at signing. Don't miss these hot summer deals at Darling's Hyundai in Augusta.
So we went out of our way.
You'll do better at Darling's.
Trying to find the most prolific element.
Being nosy is a good thing.
Fine.
Like if you suspect a natural gas leak in your home or your neighborhood, it can produce a funny smell, similar to rotten eggs, a hissing sound, or a hazy white cloud. If you notice any of these signs, don't
tell the story in such a way where
don't freak out, because number one, we just showed you the fuel shortage and crisis. The Islamic Republic of Iran will fall. They will not survive. They will not even thrive at this point, because there is absolutely no way. And this is not like 1998, this is not like 2005 when you have that situation where the base of the regime was still strong, or the infrastructure was still strong. Nobody still knows who's actually in charge anyway. And also this so-called deal, to reach a deal, 60 days or whatever. There's no way any deal is going to be signed unless one side is going to fully surrender. President Trump, a lot of people said he's going to chicken out. He's refusing to chicken out. He's refusing to sign it. He's had so many opportunities to give this monopoly what they wanted and just pretend that the Americans have won and want to get out. He's refusing to do it. The IRGC, they have no choice. They can't move from their red lines. So we're going to be back to square one, 60 days from now. Even if they announce some sort of agreement, it's basically a ceasefire extension. And at that point, there's no way we're going to see any situation where we're going to have an extension to an extension to an extension. These things will be happening. Either the Americans will accept defeat, the Americans will basically withdraw, surrender, saying we tried, we failed, but President Trump is a little bit too stubborn to do that, or the IRGC will have to surrender and just not surrender, but like there's a red line back in line, or you're going to have to start fighting. So we're going to get some reaction. Let's see what you guys think. Sponsors happy 83rd birthday. That's another last night. So it's 38 from a little bit. 83, that was not good. Final desire is sick to work on the peace deal. Nothing. Because the Americans want to make sure if any deal is signed, it's actually signed by the person in charge. And nobody knows who's in charge. Because what that was, doesn't probably have arms at this point. Don't consult any news, so he will announce his deal with Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, no one's going to take credit for absolutely no reason. Happy belated 75th birthday. Your birthday is a day over 38. Well, that is absolutely lovely. But on the point of 75, this is your final opportunity. I decided to make us go bankrupt for new members. If you want to become a member of TCTV Plus, you get full access to everything and our platform and our chat form. You can talk to me directly. Use the promo code BIRTHDAY75 to get 75% off annual memberships by visiting offers.tusi.tv. It's at the bottom left of the screen. And there's another one at the bottom right of the screen. Offers.tusi.tv. Birthday75. Last chance. It's at the end. Closing sale done, and I think it's the last time we're going to do 75%. it's a little bit too much. Anyway, anything above 20%, I think we would literally make a loss. Anyway, let's get some more reaction until we get more details. What more can US do to help people topple the RDC? Literally, the way Venom was describing it. That's the best way. So you're going to have, firstly, there has to be a political will for the military action to be about regime change or to be about destroying the regime. Until now, the US military objective has not been about destroying the regime. The Israelis' military objective is to destroy the regime. The Americans' military objective so far has been to destroy the threat of the Islamic Republic. Slightly different. If there is a political will, if we get to a point where the Americans would actually say, okay, going forward, our military operation in Iraq is about destroying the regime, right? Then what Venom said is the best way. Decimation. So you go for not just the leadership because they can replace it, go for the mid-ranking members, IRGC Bassage unit, the guys who are on the streets and everybody else. You destroy them, you destroy their hopes and dreams, just like what happened to Greta Thunberg when she was 16, her hopes and dreams in the future, whatever she was ranting about, and then fear. Fear will destroy the actual structure of the regime, and then you're going to have to basically provide, ideally, some sort of weapons to people in Iran. It's easy to say, it's not easy to do, and also air support. If the people are taken to the streets, there has to be some level of air support by drones or whatever to be able to shoot down anybody that's approaching the Iranian people, the Iranian crowd. Again, this is all theoretical. If it was a video game, it would be easy to do, but it's a much more difficult and complicated operation. I think President Trump might have found some Biden's ice cream because I'm having Groundhog Day nightmares. It is Groundhog Day, still going on. But for those in Britain who went through the Brexit negotiations to leave the European Union between 2016 and 2019, yeah, they're kind of used to this sort of Groundhog Day with negotiations. Hello from Berlin. My Berlin is nicer than London, but that is literally fake news. Berlin is nicer than London. Anyway, the Islamic Republic just said some breaking news, guys, that Israel is trying to destroy the deal. Well, no, Sherlock. Why would Israel not try to destroy the deal? Belated happy birthday, I love you on your show. Remember, Trump has his own version of Takia. He calls it the art of the deal. That's actually very true. I want to see a proof of everything first, and before money changes hands. Remember the lies from before. Keep up the excellent work. The thing is, President Trump, while he's not necessarily a warmonger, pro-war sort of president, he's not really that hawkish. He's more practical when it comes to foreign policy. While he's scared, you could say, while he might be afraid that, I don't want the Iran war to be like Vietnam, for example, right? He also, at the same time, is very afraid of his legacy of a deal to be like an Obama, because he's made a big deal out of the Obama deal being a bad deal, right? So that's even more embarrassing for him. That's why he's had so many opportunities to chicken out and sign a deal. There's been a proposal on the table for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he's refusing to sign it. So he's not chickening out so far, and we're going to have to see what he plans to do at the end of the day. But my job is to obviously clarify things, summarize things, and also calm people down, because the mainstream media and these sources scare people off. And a lot of people, the Pakistanis, are going around saying that peace deal has been reached. Shut the F up. What peace deal? This is lying. Just coming around with things. And people believe it because people see the headline from Reuters or CNN. They're like, well, the mainstream media reported it. Must be true. Really? Do you remember the videos from China and Italy in 2020? People like having sieges on the streets, dying and saying that's COVID? That was the mainstream media. I just watched a short interview with some Iranian Kurds. They apparently are considering attacking the Islamic regime. Any non-knowledgeable thoughts? Unlikely. If the US is selling oil to other countries and only 3% of US oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz, why are gas prices so high? Happy birthday, thank you. Yeah, that's not because America's been affected by the actual gas or oil. It's because of the globalized economy that we have. The world order that we have is based on a globalized economy and is backed up by the dollar, the US dollar. The US dollar is running the world, which means that when things happen in Europe, when things go down, they also go down in the US. Not the actual oil, but the prices in the markets. That's the problem. So America doesn't need the oil from Iran or the Strait of Hormuz. And America is now a bigger exporter of oil than Iran. That says a lot, by the way. That wasn't the case a few decades ago. But the oil prices, the markets in Europe will affect the US, and that's the main issue. It's just a reaction, market reaction that goes up and down and affects the prices. It's completely irrational, but that's just how the markets work. ATC, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday for yesterday and happy I share the same birthday as you. Keep on the great work. Well, happy birthday to you too then. Thank you. Don't forget, because the Islamic Republic is Islamic Republic murdered 40,000 Iranians who would not submit to them. Yep. At the risk of sounding like an idiot, how involved is Russia with regards to supplying intel? Oh, they definitely provide a lot of intel, and they also did before. In terms of munitions, it's kind of like a 50-50 situation, because they get a lot from Iran. They get a lot of drones, Shahed drones, from Iran, but there have been some military supplies that have been transported from Russia to Iran, and that's just basically to not destroy the image of the alliance, because China, Russia, and the Islamic Republic and Iran, they have to be seen to be supporting each other, because all the other junior partners in Africa and South America are watching. If China or Russia publicly throw the Islamic Republic under the bus, well, it's a bad look, isn't it? Because the other smaller allies like Cuba is going to be like, uh-oh. But in reality, they are throwing them under the bus. Just like what they did, the Russians, I think. What they did in Syria with Assad. The moment they realized the coup is happening, the Russians withdrew their forces before Assad left the country. Venezuela, they didn't come to support Maduro. With Cuba, they're talking a lot, the Russians. They're not going to actually do anything. If Cuba falls, it falls. They just move to the next area. And if there's, well, when there's no republic falls, the Russians are going to just continue. They'll be like, nothing happened. Well, I honestly, we didn't know who they are. Just pretend we didn't know them. Trump is out. Their desperation is so clear and it can't be denied. Well, if he was desperate, he would have signed a deal by now, but he's refusing to do it. Time for the idea when the people of Rod to go ahead and on their own. You need a plan. Again, it's not a video game. You can't just, if it was that easy, they would have continued. That's the point. And the Israelis would have just gone on their own. But even they're not. Being 18 again must be getting old. I'm betting that you get two 19-year-olds for 38. Let's say we Americans must ask our senators and representatives to invite Reza Pahlavi to address the US Congress. I will make them call. Yeah, that would be a very important thing and historic thing to happen. Unlikely, but the media will believe Iran and Pakistan before Trump. There was some markets. Although President Trump is now helping himself, because last night he was going around saying, we got a deal, and everybody was like, what? I was like, I was just sitting back like, this is fun to watch. Everyone's freaking out. Trump has said there is a deal. Trump also said he's going to annihilate the infrastructure of the Islamic Republic 2 days ago, right? And people also believe that, right? Just because he's saying something doesn't mean you have to believe it. Whether he says he's going to destroy bridges, or whether he says there is a peace deal, doesn't mean it's true. How many times do we have to go through the same thing? At best, today or tomorrow or the next day, or Sunday, they're going to announce a deal to then start negotiating for a deal. It's basically it's nonsense, right? But that basically creates the dead end. This deal to have a deal is a dead end. It's different to what you had so far. What you had so far is just negotiations after negotiations, right? Extension to extension. But this kind of locks both sides in. It's a commitment to reach a deal in 60 days. And neither side is moving on from their red line. After 60 days, they're both locked in. Then they have to decide, should we just go back to the battlefield? Because neither of us is surrendering. Or can one of us, well, it's not one of us, the Americans, can the Americans just say, oh well, we tried, shake hands, goodbye, no deal, but no war. But that will be even more embarrassing. So that's the difference between this potential extension compared to the previous extensions with millions of extensions that we've had so far. Happy birthday, confused yesterday. Trump called off strikes and then CNN said he struck anyway. Yeah, they killed the commander. Then today, he also called off strikes again. I'm just so confused. No, there were no strikes for today, but he did lash out at the IRGC because he was saying that they're lying. They are lying. Well, like, yes, they are lying. By the way, he's not actually angry. He knows. He knows the game. He knew they were going to lie. He just has to be seen as outraged. That's the point of it. Just like how yesterday, he had to be seen as, oh, Mustafa Khamenei loves me, we're going to meet in person, the new leadership in Iran is very different. Obviously, he knows that's nonsense. Just like how now, when he's saying, these guys need to get their act together, that's also obviously nonsense. It's just part of the dance. Anyway, I hope this kind of relatively clarified the situation, and Behnam really helped as well with his analysis. We are going to keep an eye on this situation, of course, and come back with more updates. Don't forget, last chance ever. It's the final time I'm going to give you guys a 75% off discount because it's literally making us go bankrupt. Use the promo code BIRTHDAY75 by visiting offers.2c.tv. Offers.2c.tv, BIRTHDAY75 is the code, and you will get full access to our documentaries, our original series, our interviews, our chat forum, our comedy, everything else that we have on 2C TV. Plus, a quick update on those who somehow use Android on their phones. We have had some issues with the Android store. Our app was suspended. We got it back. It's now under review. Google is reviewing it. So you might not see it on the Android App Store yet, but it will come again in the next few hours, few days, whatever. Apple App Store is still there. Download the 2CTV app, but you can only use the promo code on the website, not on the app. A lot of people keep trying to use the promo code on the app. It doesn't work. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.
South Portland and a Portland state rep by the name of Youssef, all kind of intertwined with this gateway community scandal, and it all ties back to Janet Mills. Janet Mills plays and kind of looks the other way because she needs these non-government organizations to kind of like funnel her, campaigns, keep her powerful. If I need somebody to hold signs for me or hold a fundraiser for me, there's all these connections that go back to it. So the Democrats have looked the other way with fraud here, and it's not a partisan issue. It's not an attack on them.
Artificial intelligence prejudice and what's called data poisoning, how that whole thing works. As I studied more and more about this issue, but I remember here. Back many years ago, growing up, going to public school, graduated in 1994. Tells you how old I am. But back then, we were taught that prejudice was a bad thing and how you shouldn't judge somebody based on their outward appearance or based on their race or how they're dressed, if they have money or not, whatever else. I have to go in here to the shop. Getting ready to do some sermons here soon, but just wanted to come out here for a minute.
Coming to conclusions.
But, and that was good advice. You shouldn't judge people based on certain things, racial characteristics, religion, whatever. You never know what you're going to, be looking at there. And we were talking about this whole thing of these new cars that have these cameras in them, and these cameras are designed to judge people based on their appearance. I thought prejudice was wrong. Okay, so if you're driving along and you have a new car and you start to go like this, a warning will flash or something like this. Well, that sounds good. It sounds like a nice thing. We're here to keep you safe. Always watch out when the government wants to keep you safe. A government that can't control itself, that's filled with corruption, they're going to keep you out of safe. Sure, right. But I got to thinking about that last night, and I thought, what if you have somebody who has a lazy eye? They had a stroke, they had some other kind of an eye issue, and so they're kind of like this. I've known people like that. There's actually, I forget the name of the musical group in Austria, I think it is, or something. It's a roller, I forget what it is, but these two guys, two brothers, and I think another guy, and the singer, he's kind of shorter guy, and he's got one of his eyes is kind of like that, and he's kind of got a sort of a higher voice and things, some kind of accident when he was a child or something, I don't know. What if he's driving one of those cars? He's driving down the road like this, got a lazy eye over here. Will the AI thing say, oh, you know, you shouldn't be driving a car because your one eye is going shut? I mean, how do you account for that? I guess maybe you have to go to the government to have your car reprogrammed that it's okay for you to have a lazy eye, but not somebody else or something. And it's just so weird. See, there's a problem with trying to have prejudice and, you know, pre-crime type of stuff. Oh, this guy just drove by a bar. That means he drives by a bar every day. That means he must be a drunk. Or it means that there's a bar on the way home from his job or something, you know. It's a problem. And that's what this AI thing, God created man to have wisdom, to be able to understand certain things, to not be prejudiced, okay? As a preacher, just to give you an illustration. I see some woman coming towards me, and I believe women should wear dresses. That's one of my convictions. I believe it goes along with modest apparel in the scriptures. But I see some woman and she's got pants on. Am I supposed to say, she's going to hell? Definitely she's no good, she's just rotten or whatever? I don't know. She might have just heard the gospel, she had just gotten saved or something. She never heard the arguments against the thing of wearing pants or whatever, or what's the benefits of wearing a dress or a skirt or whatever. I don't know. And I look and I see that same woman, she's got a tattoo on her. Well, man, that's two signs right there. She's going to hell. Can I really say that? Can I really judge that way? See, that's a problem. All right, I don't know where she's at with the Lord. And then I'll make a third one that's even worse. She's a black woman. I'm white, so I'm, you know, superior to blacks. Some people say that about me. I've never taught that. But, you know, but because I'm white, then that means I'm superior race, so I can then say, okay, she's really bad or something.
Demographics.
You see?
Systemic racism.
And yet, prejudice was bad in the past, but now it's good and it's here to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like the thing of, you know, climate change, global warming is a horrible thing, and you shouldn't be taking a real long hot shower, and you shouldn't be driving a sport utility vehicle. But we're going to have data mining centers now that use up all the water and run off of, you know, natural gas, you know, powered turbines, generators and things, you know, to produce enough electric so that we can keep you safe. Okay, yeah, sure. Right, no, I'm not going to go along with it. I'm going to speak against it, and enough people need to speak against this, okay? And we can make some problems for it. And here's where it gets really interesting. The concept of data poisoning. This is something that can be done. I'm looking into this whole thing, and I'll tell you, and it's actually done innocently. Let me explain. Artificial intelligence is there to do what nobody is dumb enough to do. Okay, again, artificial means fake, so fake intelligence. Think about that one. But artificial intelligence is there to say, okay, we're going to sit here as a computer and we're going to be told to be prejudiced by looking at thousands of hours of video. Nobody in their right mind would sit down and watch thousands of hours of video to try to form patterns of what people are doing. You know, that would take a pathetic loser to do something like that. You know, but artificial intelligence just happens to be that voluntary pathetic loser, because the people who are behind artificial intelligence, all the big ones, you know, they're all pathetic losers themselves. So they can't do it. They don't have enough manpower, and they can't find enough pathetic losers like themselves to do it, so they're going to make their little robots do it for them. The Nerds, you know, The Revenge of the Nerds, I guess, it was actually a prophetic movie, apparently. Revenge of the Nerds is now reality. There's a scary thought. But what they do is they watch all this material and then they try to form a pattern of what you're doing. Okay, so let's just say I decide.
What was the name of that other one?
To poison the system, and I start to watch videos of vacations to China. Okay, and where would be a good place for American tourists to go to and visit places in China? Well, the AI is watching me do that, and they're saying, he's watching videos about China. And all of a sudden I look at Chinese cuisine. What are good types of Chinese foods? The AI goes, point number 2. Point Point number 3, I type in a video search or a Google search or whatever else that says popular phrases the tourists need to know when speaking Mandarin Chinese. Point number 3, what types of clothing, what types of airfare, what types of, and I start to type in all this different stuff, and now the AI says, ding, 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 hey, we found a guy, he wants to go to China, he wants to take his family to China for a vacation, and then they sell that data to, say, TripAdvisor or some other type of a place like that, and they say, this man is interested in a trip to China, so we did a good job. See, here's artificial intelligence, and so we want you to send him, discounted rates. You can send advertisements, put advertisements on his smartphone. Thankfully, I don't have one. Never will. I don't need to be surveillanced with something in my pocket. Another issue. But we can send this guy all these advertisements and get him into the thing of, ideas of going to China. But here's where it gets interesting. I was never actually interested in going to China. I was sending poisonous data, knowing that the artificial intelligence would pick up on that. And it'd mess up the system. It cost them money. TripAdvisor had to pay artificial intelligence to get them, to get that data that they think, because they think I'm interested in going to China when I'm not. See? And see, you say, well, that should be terrorism, it should be, you're deceiving artificial intelligence, there should be laws against it. How could you prove those? How could you enforce those laws on data poisoning? See? There's no way to do that. You come to me, the police knock on the door, we have information here that you didn't actually want to go to China. So, well, I changed my mind. Well, what are they going to do? See? So, your online activity, just occasionally just kind of throw some weird thing in there just to throw off the stupid artificial intelligence that's trying to create a profile of you. Trying to, do a prejudice type of thing on you, to prejudge you. All right? In the military special operations world, they have the concept of the gray man, where you want to just kind of blend into the crowd. Don't walk into an airport or some public place with a fluorescent pink mohawk and tie-dyed shirt with a black leather jacket with spikes sticking out of it and weird boots or something. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb. They're going to make a profile. They'll prejudice you. They'll prejudge you. All right? What you want to do is you want to blend in and occasionally just throw them these weird things and whatever else. So they're going, how do we profile? What do we do here? And that's kind of an interesting thing because that's what Christians have always been. Bible-believing Christians have always been an organization that you really can't classify us. We're not Catholic. We're not really Protestant. I'm not an independent fundamental Baptist. It's kind of funny. I'm an independent fundamental Baptist. And we have our sister churches and whatever. Well, then you're not really independent. Independent fundamental Baptist is a denominational name. Then how's it independent? Non-denominational. That's kind of another one that's just sort of another denomination, essentially. We should be unclassifiable is the whole thing, is what I'm saying. We don't wear suits and ties. There's no scripture for wearing a suit and tie on a Sunday morning, or a woman wearing her Sunday best and going out and spending hundreds of dollars to get her hair done just right so she looks good on Sunday morning and wears a special hat or something. There's no scripture for that. None at all. A Christian is supposed to be ready to worship Jesus Christ at any time, no matter what clothes you have on. You don't have to put on some special outfit or go to some special place or whatever else. Maybe someday I'll meet some brethren or whatever else, and we'll have a worship the Lord here in my shop. He said, do you think you can get permission to do that? Sure. Hey, Lord, do you think I should do it here? He says, yes. I say, okay, we'll do it here. No, Brother Brian, I mean official government permission. Are you kidding me? You think I'd be dumb enough to go to the government and, can I worship the Lord in my property, in my own shop? Go fly a kite. I'm not interested. I don't care what you say or what you think about me. Should I get the government's permission to read the Bible or something? Search the scriptures? No, I don't think so. One of the reasons I've been able to say so much and get away with so much is because, number one, the Lord's protection. Number two, the body of Christ praying for me. Number three, because I make sure to research, and if I want to get my facts straight, I have thousands of books in my collection because I want to make sure that I'm able to document what I say in case I'd ever have somebody dumb enough to try to take me to court. I don't have anything worth taking, so you know it'd be stupid for somebody to try to get me to take me to court to sue me for what, you know. But there's a lot of ways that you can do this stuff, and you can do it legally, and you can have the protection of Almighty God, and that's what I rely on. But this whole thing, and again, there's so many contradictions to this Fifth Kingdom thing. I'm going to be doing a study on that. I'm currently working on the notes for it. Won't be coming out soon. It's going to take me a little while to get it done. But this whole thing of this artificial intelligence nightmare surveillance world that they want to create, it's going to fail so badly. I mean, just terrible. Terrible. And that's the whole point. That's why the Lord's going to have to supernaturally come in and stop it so that some flesh could be saved. Because it's going to fail that badly. And there's going to be kids, and I mean, I just saw a thing, Young Turks, which I realize they've got some major issues, but the Young Turks reported on the IDF killed a 7-month-old child over there in Gaza. Video of it, of a 7-month-old child. Don't even want to see something like that. It's just so horrible what Israel's doing with their Lavender AI kill software and their Where's Daddy, real wonderful thing to name it, and then the gospel also. Sick people. And you have the National Defense Authorization Act. I saw this morning, Section 244 or something. There's a big controversy about this, where they're trying to merge the American and military and the IDF into one unit. So then, in other words, Netanyahu can literally say we're going to institute a draft, and we're going to have Americans going to war for Israel. And all these satanic hirelings, oh, we have to do it because it's God's nation, it's Israel and whatever else. It's not God's nation until Jesus Christ says so. All right, God brought them back to their land in unbelief, but his judgment and wrath is going to be poured out upon them. They haven't received God as their Savior. They will in the future, but only after God whips them for 7 years in the time of Jacob's trouble. So, that's enough of a rant for now. I had to go in there, have some lunch, and things. Had to come out here and check on a few things. Show you one thing, kind of neat. I used to make these back years ago when I was a wood turner, professional wood turner. Little handmade spinning tops here. See if I can do this without dumping the whole tote. But down in here, you can see the little spinning tops in there. Each one is different. I don't make them all the same, but I've been doing that on my lathe. And so there's one right there. Put it in front of me so it put a little focus on that thing. It's focusing on my face. My camera with facial recognition. But just different, lots of different designs for little spinning tops. And so have some plans for them. I've been using, I have a big bag here, this big white bag down there that you're pointing to. It's filled with little blanks, 8-quarter maple, sugar maple. The former owner had this. He did some wood turning, but he didn't use up all of these, so got a whole bag of them there. So I'm just making some tops and other little projects and things.
On it and stuff.
Turn another little twig pot thing out of some scrap firewood. Some beautiful grain on that piece of quaking aspen. I had to think there for a minute. So working on some wood turnings. Have another piece of firewood here. I'll show you this real quick. Split firewood, and you look at it and you realize, okay, that grain is really beautifully figured. If you can see that there, how it reflects the light and things.
Remember they used to
not
have
going to
like
be going into my wood
the
stove.
metal
It's going to
ones,
be another wood turning. And so I had to fix my lathe here, my little jet lathe. One of the had some internal issues and things. I had to take it apart yesterday and got that fixed. But not a real big deal. Just one of the little pulleys it kind of got knocked off center, and was starting to rub a little bit, but I fixed that. Always something to do out in the shop, but between that and the research and putting together sermons and things, I'm very busy, which is good. So, but I'm gonna head in now, get some lunch. I'm gonna be recording 3 new sermons and another very shocking video proving that Vaticanus, the Greek text put out by the Catholic Church, is false. I've proven it. An upcoming video, Lord willing, if everything goes correctly. So that's going to be it. See what you can do to poison the system out there, this artificial intelligence thing. Be a non-conformist, brethren. That's what we're supposed to be. Romans chapter 12 talks about, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Don't conform. Don't go along with the data mining centers. Don't use a smartphone with all this AI stuff. Don't use AI for any reason. And I would say I would not watch any video that's AI. That's kind of a standard that I have. You can do what you want, of course, but I'm going to keep to that standard. I won't be part of helping the beast system come in. All right? And don't be prejudiced. Okay? Thanks for watching.
Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped.
Plattner said to avoid rape, women should act like an adult for F's sake. He's an awful person.
Graham Plattner is dangerous.
I would never vote for Graham Plattner.
For us, everything was DIY. Growing up.
Cool any room in 90 seconds with this NASA-engineered affordable device. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room in 90 seconds, and uses just a fraction of the energy of a regular AC. This incredible invention was built by 2 engineers, Thomas Berger and Leo Garcia, who used to work on thermal control systems for NASA space missions. They were tired of seeing people struggle every summer with broken ACs, $300 power bills, and unbearable indoor heat. And when a power outage during a heat wave left their families sweltering with temperatures soaring past 90 degrees, they decided to take matters into their own hands and create a groundbreaking portable AC capable of cooling down any room in a matter of minutes without the big costs. The 2 engineers, Thomas Berger and Leo Garcia, knew that traditional air conditioners were inefficient and expensive to use, so they reverse-engineered how traditional ACs waste energy, and then applied the same thermal control principles they once used to regulate temperatures in satellites and space shuttles to build a compact, ultra-efficient cooling device for everyday people.
So, Elon Musk's SpaceX IPO is today. It will be the biggest IPO in history, and that's not a bad thing, it's an amazing thing. But you're going to hear from people like Jimmy Kimmel that it's immoral, terrible, even evil. Why? Well, because all of us human beings, we have within us a vicious quality, envy. It's a universal human emotion, and envy is bad. It's wrong. God condemns it. I will explain why the SpaceX IPO is awesome, why Elon Musk deserves his wealth, and why we're all better off when we have a system where a guy can be a trillionaire. Let's dive in.
Very, very delicate situations to deal with. The safety of all parties involved, especially the children, is paramount. And you can see.
So, the SpaceX IPO is today. It has been long awaited. It will be the biggest IPO in all of human history. Again, the pre-market valuation is likely to be in the $1.77 trillion range, according to the Wall Street Journal. It's kind of an unusual IPO, initial public offering. This is where a private company goes to the public markets to raise money and then uses that money in order to run the business, in order to spend. That is what an IPO is for. It's not just to make the founders rich, although the founders now have stock that is liquid, meaning that they could sell their stock theoretically. Elon obviously is not in a position to be able to sell tons of stock, because if a founder of a major company sells a lot of his stock, that is a signal to the market he has no faith in his own company, and then the stock dies. It's a problem for every founder, from Mark Zuckerberg to Elon Musk. But what's unusual about this particular IPO is that it is actually widely available to retail investors, like the man on the street. So typically in any IPO, a certain certain percentage of the stock of the company is put on the public market. And a huge percentage of that stock is already pre-bought by institutional investors. Now, all the big companies that you hear about, the Goldman Sachs of the world, or institutional investors like sovereign wealth funds, the Middle East, or whatever, usually only about 5 to 7% of an initial public offering is available to retail investors like the guy using Robinhood or something. Today, it's 20%. That actually is pretty high. Okay, but let's put aside the actual economics for a second of SpaceX. We'll get to that in a moment. The thing that really matters, and the thing that I think could destroy the country, honestly, and the global economy, is the thing that has always been a threat to humanity, and that is envy. So Jimmy Kimmel is just a beautiful example of this. Jimmy Kimmel is a multimillionaire who works for billionaires, who's upset about a trillionaire. That is who Jimmy Kimmel is. He's an obnoxious, non-funny, woke pope late-night TV, who's probably worth somewhere between $50 and $100 million, and he's paid by people who are worth tens of billions of dollars to complain about a guy who built a company that will be worth $1.77 trillion. So last night, he started railing about how Elon Musk is not grateful enough. What, to Jimmy Kimmel or what?
Why does that matter? I'm just curious, because you did.
Elon Musk came to the United States from South Africa in 1995, the son of a humble emerald mine owner, and he is so grateful to this country that allowed him to become a trillionaire. Tesla paid almost no federal income tax over the past 3 years. You know, for a guy who has been openly cheering immigrants getting kicked out of the country for stealing from us, sure seems like an immigrant who's been stealing from us to me.
No matter what is happening in your life.
Now, this is just obnoxious trash. It is not true. Elon did not, in fact, grow up wealthy. His dad was kind of a mess. And as far as the idea that Elon came to the United States wealthy, that is eminently untrue. He was living in some of the worst apartments in America when he came here. And then he didn't get a job at Netscape. And then he ended up becoming this unbelievable success.
Officers catch this vehicle going
the notion that he is stealing from Americans by building several of the most successful companies in American history is totally crazy. What has Jimmy Kimmel built? Ever. But here's what's really going on. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't like that Elon is really, really rich. That's what this is. He does not like that Elon is rich. That's all.
Exactly. That was beyond stupid, man. Sorry.
It's hard for our brains to conceptualize that. I mean, we know a trillion is a number, but it's so large. The same way we can't fathom it. The same way we know, like, Elon has a lot of kids.
That's the thing is, a lot of people come from wealthy families. That doesn't mean they're wealthy. They get cut off sometimes.
If you tried to count out loud to a trillion, you wouldn't count
could be for a lot of different reasons.
33,736.
Yeah, just because somebody grew up in a wealthy family doesn't mean they tasted any of that well. They were a bad kid. You know, some wealthy people are pretty abusive.
Elon could buy every NFL team, all of them, and he'd still have $773 billion left, which he could use to buy all 30 Major League Baseball teams, every NBA team, every Wendy's, every Target store, the Beatles' entire music catalog. He could buy Nike, Macy's, and every Hyundai Elantra ever produced. He still had $260 million left over.
Parental.
Okay, so I'm just wondering. Jimmy Kimmel again is worth probably $100 million. If you counted to 100 million, it would take somewhere between 20 and 30 years. If you counted one number per second and stayed up all night. Why the envy? Why the rage? Well, certainly there's something political to this. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel was much nicer to Elon Musk back in, say, 2013 when he was having him on his show to talk about SpaceX.
I'm going to give you one last chance.
So then what's extenuating?
Just for the audience, in case they're not familiar with him, in 1983 at age 12, he designed a video game and sold it to a computer magazine for $500. 1995, big money for a 12-year-old. You quit the graduates program at Stanford to found Zip2.
Well, that's what I say, it's too absurd.
He sold Zip2 to Compaq for $309 million.
And then, personal identification, extenuating circumstances. Yeah, a lot of our systems seem to mess up here.
SpaceX, you co-founded Tesla Motors, you helped create Solar City, the solar power company. Well, it's great to meet you. If you want to watch the launch, why wouldn't you want to watch the launch of SpaceX rocket on March 1st?
SpaceX.com and take a look at Elon Musk, everybody. Thanks,
There is a charge for somebody participating.
and there's the audience cheering Elon Musk back in 2013, right about the time of the launch of SpaceX. I mean, Barack Obama toured SpaceX with Elon in 2010, the Democratic President of the United States, and marveled at it.
On your phone by chance? Your phone was in the bag.
Father's Day in America.
Is your phone in the car?
A time to honor all fathers.
You mind if I get it?
As a
And I think it's fair to say that this is the most advanced rocket in the world. It's the only rocket that is designed to reuse the patches that are actually mounted on special thermal protection. So this is the real big breakthrough that's needed.
You see Obama is the president, standing alongside Elon as Elon explains the rocket.
Let's make a revolution in space. It's not a reusable rocket anymore to transport bicycles.
And again, he's talking about reusable rockets back in 2010. That was not achieved for full over a decade.
Right, exactly. You'll have
That's
better
an enormous
connections.
risk.
Right,
And Obama's just
exactly.
marveling at it. And now we've gone from that inspirational
Connections.
view, to giant inflatable Elon Musks in Times
I
Square
don't mind you getting out of the car, but I don't
with
want you back there.
no shirt on, all ugly and everything.
Connect
Saying
Four is a
SpaceX
fun
rock
game.
makes
We should
AI
make
child
some new
stop
Connect
SpaceX
Fours.
childhood, etc.
Are you willing to spend to feel
So what's really
Yeah,
going
they
on?
can be
The answer
lit
is
up, they can have sounds, they can keep score.
That's
I
all.
think they've already made
And coming
some
up,
like
you'll
that,
get
but they totally suck.
the question of
Like a
envy.
nice
Why some people
durable
don't understand basic economics of the
cool
United States.
pieces.
Why Elon deserves
That glow in the
to pay.
dark.
I mean, it is amazing. The story of SpaceX is incredible. America is awesome, and it's because America is awesome.
Oh, for
We're
real.
very good at ceremonies, like flyovers, parades, speeches. Put giant flags on everything, and that's great. But
Right, well,
honoring
you could
veterans
design
is
your
something
own
that
Connect
people do
Four.
on a holiday. The real question is, what
Design
happens
your
when a
own
veteran comes
Connect
home and
Four.
needs help navigating the challenges of everyday life? That's why I want to tell you about something Pure Talk is doing this summer. As America approaches its
I know, you could put
250th
different
birthday, Pure Talk and its
characters,
customers are
have
working to
different
raise
colors,
$250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership, who works to prevent veteran suicide by helping veterans navigate real-life challenges that often get overlooked. Housing, transportation, counseling, access to VA benefits. In practical things, it can make an enormous difference in someone's life, because real support means more than saying thank you for serving. Helping is
Or you
really
could have
easy.
it be able
When
to
you
be
switch
programmed for
phone
your
service to Pure Talk this month,
phone. So you
you'll
can
have the
program in
opportunity to
different
round
sound
up your bills to
effects.
support America's
So when the
Warrior
thing
Partnership.
drops, it can
Pure Talk
sound
will
like
match
a
donations until they reach
cowboy.
250 grand. At the same time, you'll get unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited high-speed data for just $34.99
You
a
can have
month.
a whole bunch of different
Pure Talk is
stuff.
a veteran-led company, so it's not a corporate publicity stunt. Supporting veterans is part of who they are. Go to puretalk.com/Shapiro and make the switch to Pure Talk. Again, that's puretalk.com/Shapiro. Switch to my wireless company, America's wireless company, Pure Talk. So, there is a very interesting study from a journal called Frontiers in Psychology in 2021, talking about what are called the two faces of envy. And the authors write, envy is like a wildfire.
You have your kids play against each
Feel
other.
envy
You
for a
teach your
classmate
kid how to
that's good
play, and then
grades,
you bring
or a
it home
neighbor
to
who buys
someone
an
else's
expensive
house,
car.
and your
This
kid
kind of
want to play
emotion
my
drives our
kid.
different behaviors, like small stones in the heart, like ruining our peace of mind. Scholars have defined
I
envy
know.
as the intense,
After a
unpleasant
few
feeling
games,
that
you
one
might
feels
start
when one
betting on their
realizes that
kid.
another has
Jesus
something
Christ,
that one
Johnny,
strives
did
for,
I teach you
pursues,
anything?
yearns for. Envy is a painful emotion. There are two kinds of envy. One is useful and one is quite terrible. One is benign envy. In benign envy,
It's not my
the envious
son.
person may
You
try
are
to make
not
themselves
my
as good as
son
the person
playing
being envied.
Connect Four like
Therefore,
that.
envy can increase personal effort, drive behavior to achieve the desired object, and to turn attention to the means of achieving it. And then there is another type, malicious envy.
What the
This is
frick?
where the envious person may try to degrade the person being envied, to vilify or denigrate the other person's advantages. Envy can increase schadenfreude, behavior that leads to hostility and resentment, can shift attention to the person being envied. By the way, it also leads to violence. There is literally a full commandment among the 10 that is directly about envy. You may remember it, the 10th commandment, the final one from Exodus 20:17. You shall not cover your neighbor's house, neighbor's wife, his servant, his ox, his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. God takes time out to say envy is bad. By the way, this is the only commandment that has to do with your feelings. All the rest are behaviorally driven. Right? Don't steal, don't kill, don't blaspheme, respect your parents, and all of the rest. This one is emotional. Why did God reserve one commandment for the emotion of envy? Because it turns out the entire history of humanity relies on whether we can actually master our envy. This is the story of Cain and Abel. The story of Cain and Abel is about envy. Cain decides to sacrifice to God, and Abel follows suit. And God, for a reason we don't understand from the Bible, accepts Abel's sacrifice but not Cain's. And then God says the moral of the story in Genesis 4:7, he says, surely if you do right, you will be uplifted. But if you do not do right, sin crouches at your door. Its urge is toward you, but you can be its master. What is that sin? It's envy. And what does Cain do? Instead of going to Abel and saying, what did you do right and I did wrong? How can I do better? He kills Abel. Envy is destructive. It is terrible. Now what's interesting here is when we get envious, because it's not sort of a universal timing thing. Envy is a universal human emotion. We feel it all the time. But it tends to kick in for anyone who's just above you on the wealth index. So if you make 100 grand, you may be envious of the guy who makes 200 grand. If you're worth $100 million, the way Jimmy Kimmel is, you may be envious of the guy making $1 trillion. But it's not every person who makes more than you. There is a particular envy for people who take risks. Because in our heart of hearts, we think we could have done that too. We look at Elon, we say, I could have founded a space company. He thought of it, but sure, I could have thought of it. I could have taken the risk. It's something that's within my purview. It's really, really interesting to watch New Yorkers who just voted for a democratic socialist like Zohran Mamdani, who rips on Ken Griffin all day long, rooting for the Knicks this season. Right? The Knicks are super rich. Really, really, really rich. Karl Anthony Towns made $53 million this year. OG made $40 million. Jalen Brunson makes $35 million a year. That is a lot of money. But you're not seeing jealousy or outrage in the stadium. People aren't showing up and yelling at them about how they need to redistribute their income and pay more taxes, and how many school teachers are out of a job. And do we need more government-sponsored grocery stores from CAT paying more tax? So why aren't people so envious of these guys? Well, the truth is that everyone sort of recognizes that these guys have unique talent given by God. You're not 7 foot, you're not 270 pounds, and you can't shoot the three. But when it's a smart person who doesn't have overt sort of alien-like physical qualities, then we get pretty jealous. Why didn't we get what he has? Why don't we all get to be Elon Musk rich? He's not that much better than we are. But here is the thing. The reason that Elon is super rich, and I know a lot of people who are as bright as Elon. I know a lot of very high IQ. Elon has a very high IQ. I know a lot of very high IQ people. He's much richer than any of them. Why? Well, because he took risks. Huge risks. Unprecedented risks. And that is good, because risk is what creates innovation. If you don't have people risking, you don't get better stuff. If you don't have people putting up their house for mortgage in order to sponsor and subsidize them building a company, the company does not get built. If you don't have people willing to put their own money where their mouth is, their own time, their own effort, where their mouth is, you do not get new things. And we need new things. And not only that, we need a system that allows you to keep what you make. Why? Well, because here's the thing. For every single Elon Musk in any industry, there are 10,000 dudes who thought of it, risked it, and failed. And so what is the only thing that will keep people risking it and trying to do the thing that actually builds? The only thing that incentivizes that is the possibility of making a lot of money. That is the only thing. The thing that generates people willing to take the risks that actually make the world a better place is a system that allows you to keep what you make, to keep what you kill. And that is why the system must be maintained. Risk-taking is risky. Take, for example, Blue Origin. Okay, so Blue Origin is another company run by another billionaire, Jeff Bezos. Blue Origin is a competitor to SpaceX. This is a risky business. It was just a couple of weeks ago that we watched a Blue Origin rocket explode on the ground. I mean, you know how much money and time and effort were lost in this 1 millisecond?
Spaceship in the ocean, and a blue whale in the sky.
Okay, class. Can somebody tell me what kind of bird this is?
Tried to catch one on my tongue. The snowflake said, hey, put me down.
It's an Amazona.
They live in flocks.
They're very loud.
All right. Today we're learning about flight.
Billions of dollars. Billions. Not millions. Billions. I mean, this is what it looks like when you risk, because sometimes you fail. You know how many videos there are of Elon Musk's rockets blowing up on the launch pad? We've watched videos on the show of his reusable rockets failing. This stuff happens. You have to take the risks. I mean, here's a picture from 2006 at rocket debris from Falcon 1's first flight. A much younger Elon Musk looking at what it looks like. I mean, to go from that to a $1.77 trillion IPO is an amazing feat. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. Look at that. That's what failure looks like. And what success looks like is the IPO today. How do you incentivize a person to keep looking failure in the face over and over and over again? You have to have an American system, a free market system that rewards risk-taking, that punishes failure and rewards success. That is what you require. I mean, people forget that Elon Musk risked pretty much his entire early fortune on SpaceX and Tesla. He got about $180 million when PayPal was sold. He poured about $100 million of that $180 million into SpaceX and Tesla. Now again, over time, he ended up with a stake of approximately 42% in SpaceX. The company was almost bankrupt in 2008. By late 2008, after the first 3 Falcon 1 launches, and you saw that picture of him just crouching, looking at the debris, SpaceX was running out of money. They were down to basically their final weeks of capital, and Elon scraped together personal loans against his own assets to make payroll, to keep the company from shutting down. This is what risk takers do. Again, he's got personal loans to fund both SpaceX and Tesla personally, to prevent them from folding before they were commercially viable. This is risk-taking, and it's awesome, and it should be rewarded. If you want cool stuff, you have to reward risk-taking. It is necessary. It is good. Walter Isaacson, in his biography of Musk, talks about the fact that when Musk first decided that he wanted to send a mission to Mars, the first thing he realized is he had no clue about anything rocket-related. So he called an aerospace consultant named Jim Cantrell, and then he basically just learned up. According to Isaacson, from Cantrell and others, he borrowed rocket propulsion elements, fundamentals of astrodynamics, and aerothermodynamics of gas turbine and rocket propulsion, along with several more seminal texts. It wasn't that Elon started off as some sort of expert on space. He was not. He knew pretty much nothing. It's that Elon is personally an incredible risk taker, not just about his money, but also about his time and his expertise. He looked at something, thought, that's fascinating to me, I'm obsessed with it, and just launched himself into it. Isaacson quotes another billionaire, Peter Thiel, saying, "What I didn't appreciate is that Elon starts with a mission and later finds a way to backfill in order to make it work financially and technically. That's what makes him a force of nature." Alrighty, coming up, we'll get to a bunch of people who just are envious of other people's wealth, but they're pretending that it's because they're altruistic, but really it's because they hate and don't understand free markets. But you do. Running a business is tough. Every single day brings a new decision, a new task, a new problem to solve. Before long, managing the business starts getting in the way of actually growing the business. And this is where Shopify comes in handy. His partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Okay, so, one of the things that you will see in modern American politics is pure envy, right? They're people jealous of Elon because he took a risk, masquerading as altruism. This is always and forever the socialist pitch. You don't like people who are rich because they're richer than you envy them, and therefore they must have stolen from you. This is what malicious envy looks like. So Hassan Piker, who is truly a leech, the man has never created a thing. He has not innovated a product, he has not started a major company, he does not employ very many people. He is truly a useless Nepo baby of Cenk Uyghurs. And yet he's touted as some sort of great thinker. Well, he compares people like Elon to the Gilded Age. He blames capitalism for people sleeping outside in the United States every night, as though the natural condition of humanity is innovation and growth, as though wealth is the natural condition of humanity as opposed to abject poverty, which is the actual natural condition of humanity, absent innovation. By the way, perform a quick thought experiment, you can see that the only thing that has changed in human history is free markets and innovation. Private property, that's the thing that changed. Because here's the thought experiment. Think of every single thing in Elon Musk's rockets. Think of every single element. Were any of those elements not present on planet Earth in the year 1000 BC? Or 10,000 BC? Or 100,000 BC? Every element in your computer was present on planet Earth when Jesus was walking the Earth. Every single element. What changed? Innovation. Private property. Capitalism, rewards for risk-taking. That's what changed. The reason Hassan Piker sits there in his well-made suit and Cartier glasses is because those companies that make them exist thanks to private property and capitalism. That is the reason. But here's Hassan Piker, masquerade. He takes the envy, and then he hides it behind a mask of, I just care about people. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're just jealous. You're just a jealous leech.
Harris Farmers Union helps you get growing. Enjoy nut trees, shade trees, fruit trees, including apple, cherry, peach, pear, and plum, plus flowering shrubs and berry bushes. Get your
Alexa, play music from 1951. Alexa, volume 6. Alexa, play music from 1961. Alexa, volume 6. What's the matter with her?
When the night has come
and the land is dark,
He's positioning himself to, I think, make a run for it.
It's so simple, really, if we were to just like retool our system a little bit, because we have all of the wealth, we have all of the potential, we have all of the opportunity to change this system, to ensure that that doesn't happen. It's unbelievably inhumane, and yet we don't do it, because this is the way the system is designed. This is the way capitalism has to continue. And yet, in spite of the same wealth inequality, if not worse, that we're currently experiencing in comparison to the Gilded Age, Americans are sleepwalking in the direction of fascism. That's what I want to avoid.
What a ridiculous person. What a truly ridiculous person. And I just want to point out here that even the so-called Gilded Age, right, which again was a propaganda angle on one of the most innovative and creative times in American industrial history. It's what launched America into the forefront of the global economy. It is what generated America's leading wealth on planet Earth, the Gilded Age. And all of the supposedly evil robber barons, people like J.P. Morgan or Rockefeller, these are people who coined industries. Also people who, by the way, saved the economy. In 1907, the American economy nearly collapsed, and J.P. Morgan got all the bankers in a room. There was no Federal Reserve at the time, and they backstopped the entire American economy. Okay, but wealth creation helps people. People are not sleeping homeless because SpaceX is successful. You know, it is truly incredible. It's just baseline economic ignorance, folks. Go back 500 years, and everyone was sleeping homeless.
Shackle them up.
If you had a home, it was a trashy home. It was a set of 4 walls. Your animals slept inside with you. There was no actual floor, and you cracked in a bucket. Things are a lot better now. That is not because of Hassan Piker's predilections economically. So, let's talk about SpaceX specifically. SpaceX is an amazing company. Again, this is not an advertisement for you to buy SpaceX stock. I don't know if it's overvalued or undervalued. I will say that ripping on SpaceX is an absurdity. SpaceX has done amazing and continues to do amazing things. SpaceX as a company is responsible for roughly 82% of all American space launches and over 84% of the global payload mass to orbit. It controls America's sole domestic crewed ride to the ISS. It has revenue from 3 places: Starlink, which has 12 million active subscribers for direct-to-device internet, which, by the way, Starlink will have a salutary impact on global politics. If Starlink had been widely available in the middle of the Iran war, it would have made a huge difference. Iran shutting down the internet has been a disaster area, and literally the only way anyone was getting any information from the outside was Starlink. In space launches, obviously, SpaceX makes a lot of money off its space launches, and the possibility of orbital AI data centers following its merger with xAI. By the way, that is legitimately the coolest possibility. You know, a lot of people these days have a lot of angst over land use with regard to data centers. So the fix for that, innovation, man, it's an amazing thing, risk-taking, an amazing thing, is something called orbital AI data centers. So what is that? That means that you literally launch pieces of data centers into space, and then they rely on solar energy, because the sun's energy is constant in space, and the cold temperatures of space prevent overheating. According to the Wall Street Journal, orbital data centers will feature swarms of satellites laden with AI chips. They will need solar arrays to produce electricity to run the AI computing systems. The satellites are expected to fly in an orbit that roughly travels over Earth's poles to maximize their exposure to sunlight. It is amazing stuff. SpaceX will mint, today, probably 4,000 millionaires, people down to the janitor, who actually own stock in SpaceX. Because one of the ways, when you have a startup company, to get people to work for you is to give them stock. And somehow this is bad. Somehow this is bad. The idea is that America's economy has been hollowed out by innovation, but that's not true. It is not even remotely true. What an amazing video you just watched. Wasn't that amazing? Well, you know, if you think so, head on over to dailywire.com/subscribe to watch the full show ad-free, or check out this crazy story here.
When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 million to help end veteran homelessness. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
They track every market so you know when to make your move.
No way.
Yes way. Realtor.com tracks local data and spots trends so you know when to make your move. I knew that. No, you didn't.
We hate dealing with cases that involve kids, but these parents are some of the worst I've ever seen.
I believe Optimus is going to be the greatest product ever created by humanity.
Elon Musk and his xAI startup have built the largest and most powerful artificial intelligence training supercomputer in the world.
As far as I know, there's only one person in the world who can do that, you know?
This is an arms race of epic proportions.
He's a big thinker.
You guys went on Fox the other day with the Doge team. I saw Elon's face nodding while they were speaking with a grin ear to ear.
Right.
He was proud. He is proud.
xAI has acquired X in an all-stock transaction.
Tesla's first robo-taxis are officially on the road.
The company's board proposed a new compensation package for the CEO that could pay him just about $1 trillion in stock.
He gets nothing if he doesn't hit the numbers.
SpaceX will buy wireless spectrum licenses from EchoStar for its Starlink satellite network for about $17 billion.
How do you have time? Because I've never understand you.
Yeah, well, I do work a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elon Musk.
Alright, where are you?
Alto.
You're in Palo Alto and not Washington, D.C.
I'm at Tesla Global Engineering Headquarters in Palo Alto.
Yeah. So no more Washington, D.C. You're back at work. You're focused. Yeah?
Yeah, I haven't been to DC since May.
Okay.
That was a hell of a side quest.
That was a good side. Any lessons from your time in Washington, D.C.?
There's sometimes even like a designated.
The government is basically unfixable. I applaud David's noble efforts in this. It's good to have talented people in the administration, but at the end of the day, if you look at our national debt, which is insanely high, the interest payments exceed the Defense Department, War Department budget, and they keep rising. So if AI and robots don't solve our national debt, we're toast.
Which is a great segue. Optimus is, I think, going to be the greatest product in the history of humanity. What's the progress like, and how many of your cycles are going specifically to Optimus? What's the timeline? I think you're on version 3, maybe 4. Tell us everything.
Well,
Yeah, no, everything would take a long time.
We've got time.
We're finalizing the design of Optimus version 3, and that really is going to be a very remarkable robot. It will have essentially the manual dexterity of a human, so meaning a very complex hand. An AI mind that can navigate and comprehend reality, and will be made in very high volume. Those are the three things that are missing. Like if you see any other robotics company, they're missing those three things. Those are the three really hard things. And I spent actually at this point. It might be more of my mental cycles than anything else, any other single thing on Optimus. That's solving for real world AI, all of the electromechanical issues of Optimus, the supply chain and production challenges of it. Because there is no supply chain that exists for humanoid robots, so it has to be, we have to recreate it from scratch, and which requires doing a lot of vertical integration. None of the actuators in Optimus are available from an existing supply chain.
That's one of those.
But I think it is accurate to say that if successful, Optimus will be the biggest product ever.
And the cost of it at scale, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a robot. What do you think the first wave of them will cost? And when will we be able to buy one to work on the ranch?
Like all of us, in disbelief. Delaney's so nonchalant.
I think that the marginal cost of production, once you hit 1 million units per year, is probably around the $20,000 range. It sort of depends on how much you spend on the AI chip in the robot, and you need to achieve a lot of efficiencies in the actuators. There are 26 actuators per arm, like 26 like motors, gearboxes, and power electronics. But the AI chip will be pretty expensive. Like that might be like $5,000 or $6,000 of the bill of materials, maybe more. But I think at volume, at 1 million units a year, the production cost is probably on the order of $20,000, maybe 25, something like that. And the price will be as a function of demand.
Elon, can you maybe explain to everybody why the hand is so important to get right, and why the actuator design is so unique, and why it's so difficult, why nobody makes it, and why you have to start there almost to build the rest of the robot properly?
Her whole reaction is kind of off. It could be.
Well, it turns out human hands are incredibly. They've evolved to be this incredibly sophisticated machine. Like your hand is actually a remarkable thing. You should look closely at your hands. And think of all the things you can do with your hands, which is a lot.
I can think of many things. Yeah, I was just thinking about something.
Your hands are a very versatile instrument.
Yeah, you can give a high five.
Very versatile. You can swing a baseball bat. You can thread needles. You can put thread in a needle. You can play the piano with violin. You can disassemble or assemble a car. The hands are incredibly versatile instruments, and most of the muscles of the hand are actually in the forearm. So your hand is kind of like it's like a puppet. Like it's mostly a puppet. The muscles are coming from the forearm, and they're pulling the tendons, which are also human tendon design or human tendon evolution is incredibly good. So you've got this web of tendons. You've got I think the human hand is something like, depending on how you count it, 27 or 28 degrees of freedom per, in the hand. It's amazing. So, in order to create a robot that can be a generalized humanoid, you must solve the hands problem.
We had Ari.
It's got hands, these hands.
And so is it like when you were first building Tesla where the supply chain doesn't exist and now you have to go out and find folks to work with and build all this vertical integration, get support? Is it literally like it's just nowhere to be found and you're going to have to build all of this stuff up?
Yes, we could not actually buy the actuators for any amount of money. They simply didn't exist, even though there are 10, 20,000 electric motors out there of various sizes and shapes. We've had to design every electric motor, gearbox, and the controlling
Okay. All right. So you.
In light of class, I know you see so many different cases similar. These young women, postpartum, you keep hearing it, yeah? All right, so a few articles that got sent over. Many women with postpartum depression report feelings of lethargy and fatigue when they take the postpartum medications. Very common. Probably not good symptom. Why would you give that to a mother who just had a baby? It doesn't make any sense. They try to say the benefits outweigh the cost because you have to treat the postpartum depression. And our Western medicine system only knows one thing for that. And it's been a problem for a really long time. Nobody seems to want to address it and just promote them. Oh, it really helped me. Anyways, yeah, many women with postpartum depression who use the medications report feelings of lethargy and fatigue. Stimulants such as crack cocaine, illicit amphetamines, methamphetamines, and prescription medications such as Adderall and Ritalin may be abused to relieve those symptoms. So what's been happening is these women that get put on the medications and they feel lethargic and fatigued, then treat the lethargy and fatigue by using crack or cocaine or amphetamines, Adderall, Ritalin. So why don't they just stop taking the medications? Good question. Some of them have to, I think, if they want to keep custody of their children. The system is set up that way. I think we explained that to you. Yeah, actually, here are some cases on that. I'll send you over these just for one example. National Institute of Health.gov by M.K.J. Davis. This was in 2012. Cited by 22 people, something like that. Yeah, this is a case report of a postpartum woman with substance abuse, and they were talking about how they were being pressured to enter medication treatment programs to regain custody of their children. It's a huge problem. It has been for quite a while. So then those women that get forced to take the postpartum medications that oftentimes they don't want to take. Many do want to take them. They're depressed, they have postpartum depression, and by somebody diagnosing them and giving them a medication, it makes them feel justified in their behavior. It can sometimes even cause an exacerbation in their behaviors because they've now been diagnosed and are on medication, and people need to respect that and not upset them. They have a diagnosis. Yeah, it gets really old. Like when you really start getting into it, I don't think a lot of people up at those levels understand it, and to those that do, they don't really care because they're making so much money off of it. But then you also have laws that penalize the use of substances during pregnancy. But they have expectant mothers who are in treatment for opioid use disorder, OUD. Right, so what do they treat that with? Yeah, I mean, some stay on low doses of the medication, which are harmless in some situations. It depends. I mean, when you start getting into it and understanding the medications. Right, how horrible when you have these people that are reporting those symptoms. Yeah, no, we are very well versed in this. They get ignored and they up the doses. If someone starts complaining about lethargy and leg spasms and stuff, well, maybe we need to up the dose. Yeah, they're really sick, dude. I've looked these people right in the eyes and have tried to make sense. And you can. You just always come to the conclusion that they're bound by the system and their jobs and the CDC and are just doing as they're told. So then you get to the point where you're like, okay, you're a bunch of puppets. That's inhumane. What the fuck is the matter with you? You go into healthcare to help people or just make money? I know, it's a family affair for a lot of people, huh? It's gotten really bad. It's sad, just the lack of understanding and care, bedside manner, you know, with a lot of things. It's gone so horrible. And then in 2010, when they signed off on that stuff, it opened the door for a lot of abuses within those systems. Lower income, housing facilities, special needs. Got pretty bad. Nursing homes, schools. Right, and instead of getting the extra security for those things like people wanted to do, surveillance and stuff, what'd they do? I know, absolutely horrible. You can't even, you try to make sense of it and you just wonder. It's a combination of people being very evil and other people being very stupid. No offense. Right, so yeah, just in light of one of the cases we were just listening to, someone sent over those articles. Why don't they discuss these things on mainstream news? Because I know it's a really serious concern for many years with people, and instead of addressing it, they promote the dangerous drugs and protect the slugs and nasty fucking sluts and druggies around them. It's quite disturbing. And then when you have these punks that are feeding a lot of their friends child and animal pornography, with which they act upon. Do you have your own security team? Have your security team talk to my security team. I know. I mean, when you really start to understand over the years, a lot of meddling and maniacal stuff going on. Yeah, it's very well known. These cases are very well known. The kids usually get abused till they die. The me is usually so retarded it doesn't even know what's going on. I'm usually dead by now. I kind of am. That's why we say we're dead mothers. We're just watching and witnessing from the great beyond. I hope so. Yeah, you let us know. Any other questions, comments, concerns, suggestions as to how we can help our children? So, I mean, we know to do that and to help humanity and those things and to bring clarity and understanding, people are going to have open discussions about the facts and reality and stop coddling people's childish beliefs and over-medicating symptoms that are very easily addressed without powerful drugs and medications that are increasing the violent murders of young children. Does anyone care? Or I know a lot of people do. I know, and they feel this way too. And I'm just expressing what I actually hear a lot of them say. This is a character and collaboration of so many caring people. They can't even speak. They're beside themselves. They start to hyperventilate. No joke. Yeah, so to see people that are so careless to it and add fuel to the fires of such incitements. It is sad. We've seen a lot of those people get targeted and killed. Doctors, private investigators. Oh, it's all in our heads. Totally. I know, and then when fact checkers start looking into everything we're talking about, and everything checks out. Every single thing checks out. There's not one thing that can be disproven or that is not well documented. Facts. And then we're dealing with a lot of people with childish beliefs, popping pills and telling ghost and alien stories. Yeah, that's all been proven. It's already done. You can't deny it. Hopefully the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to address it. Because us as citizens, amazing. Absolutely fucking amazing to still be here considering. Hallelujah. All right, so if you have any ideas as to how we can get grown adults to act like adults and discuss the facts, we be here, man. We be here.
Trying to make it home, doing the combo, so pissed off for one son. I'm fighting for my soul. God, get at your boy.